It's Friday, which is a weird day to be holding our monthly patron hangout, but a whole lot of pro wrestling has gotten in the way of that. Usually we do this on the first Sunday of the month, and the first Sunday of the month this month was Hell in the Cell, and then I was going to reschedule to this Sunday, and I'm going to live wrestling locally to go see Marty Skrull in the front row. Therefore, we must push it to today, because otherwise it's going to be in mid-November that we hold it.
We're going to have October's patron hangout after November's patron hangout.
We're going to be talking about Christmas at the October patron hangout. And it's actually our Thanksgiving weekend up here in the Great White North. So we've actually entered into that long weekend period. Saturday being the first day of the weekend, and we have a Monday off.
And this would have actually be like the first stat holiday in a while that I didn't pick up a shift.
Thank
so
goodness.
I actually would have been free this Sunday night.
Oh, gosh. No, but it was me. Yeah. I am not missing a chance to see Marty.
No. No.
I bought a new hat for it.
It's
over there. Hold on.
Oh, you're wrecking things.
I'm
things
wrecking everything. There we go. Anyway, that said, we have an actual patron with us live, so we don't have to ramble for an hour and a half like we usually do before we get things
we're still
started.
going to, but at least we get prompts now.
Of course. Yeah, we have somebody who might have a question here and there. Somebody to actually stop us from talking, or at least to give us a reason to talk, because I know most of the time we got so used to using this to just ramble on. If you want to become a patron, check us out at patreon.com/marriedwithclicks. You can listen to us ramble for about a half an hour before you get to ask any questions. Why don't we just skip right to it? We have somebody here. Before we get started, Amber, you been good? Nobody gets to see you on the channel anymore, so you got to realize that.
I'm good.
Amber is good. Right.
Yeah, this past weekend, we finally got to finish up our Regenesis month 3, and I won it all for Team Wolverine, and I'm actually super excited because it is the best I've actually done in a storyline event. I won 3 out of the 4 prizes, so I actually won the event for month 2. Month 3, I was the highest ranked Wolverine player. And,
you're a character, that's for sure.
Which gave me enough event points to be the highest overall Wolverine player. So I got it all. It was fun.
Alright, but enough about us. This is a show we have for the patrons. If you're watching us live in the chat amongst yourselves. We will not really be paying attention to your questions unless you happen to pop us a super chat, because then you're kind of a patron for about a minute and a half. 2 minutes, 3 minutes, however long it takes me to answer the question, as I usually go on quite the tangent. But that said, and I didn't ask for pronunciation, so I'm going to probably blow this one. But Azareth!
Yeah, you got it.
Yes!
Nice.
Is joining us this month. And you have the opening salvo of the questions to make us talk a lot.
Well, first off, Amber doing so well on Regenesis. Come back to competitive?
It's a good start, but it also actually kind of proves my point.
Yeah.
Is that I did really well in Regenesis because all it is just figures on the map. And part of the reason why, if anybody actually ended up missing that, I don't know if I explained it. I, after Canadian Nationals this year, decided to leave competitive constructed HeroClix because everything in the metagame right now, it's very overwhelming for me. Everything with cluster retaliations and ID cards and now dice manipulation with Q. It's too much for me to handle, to think of. I have a hard enough time keeping all of my own stuff to be able to actually anticipate what my opponent can do. Regenesis, having done so well, proves that I'm not bad at this game. I'm actually a good player, but I'm very easily overwhelmed by too many things going on at once. So, I might slowly get myself back into competitive. I was actually really, really hoping I was going to be able to be free for states. So, because the Pauper format actually really intrigues me, because that is a much more limited format as well. Especially when it gets down to equipment and ID cards being severely limited in that they're still available, but there's like 1 or 2 options, and that's something I can anticipate. But unfortunately, that is just a no-go for that weekend. We are not able to get the sitters that we need, and we can't have all 3 of the kids cross the border yet. So I was hoping to be able to go down to New York States with that, but I can't yet. So then that brings us to, I don't know, whatever happens in like, February.
Do you guys have
November
any
is also,
provincials
like,
nearby?
Pardon?
Any provincials nearby?
It's the same weekend.
Same weekend we can't get the sitter, and
That's so unfortunate.
Yeah. So.
and Amber, because she's not whole hogging yet, she's jumping on the grenade for me.
Yeah, it's one of those things. If we can't get a sitter, it makes more sense for Jason to go out and actually legitimately compete in tournaments like this than me being like, maybe I'll go. I don't know. So, and I think our WKOs are around the same time, if that. I don't. November is a horrible month.
They're not running WKOs during November.
Yeah, I think
okay.
WKO start again next year.
Yeah.
All right. Well, at least there's that. But November is like a horrible month for us because it is both my birthday and our daughter's birthday. So there's so much personal things that we have to arrange in that month, and then it also happens to be just like a really heavy month for HeroClix competition. Like this year we have states, but last year it was just like every weekend had a WKO. So like the last 2 years I've basically spent my birthday playing WKOs.
Yeah, we were supposed to go to Moose Winooski's for that one, and then I ended up winning it, and it took too long.
Yeah.
And that's 100% my fault.
Way to
And
go.
then I didn't get a birthday dinner at all, I don't think, that year, but...
No. It was, what happened was the next day we went to 401 games. Both of them were sealed, and I want to say it's my fault, but I'm going to mostly blame Wonder Woman and Harley Quinn.
Yep.
And
I remember you getting to the top 8 again, and I'd be like...
and then we went to 401 games, and then a player had dropped before the cut to the top 8 because he couldn't stick around. And that shifted me into the top 8. I had no business being in the top 8. I was 2-2 with a lot of points. There was no way I was making the top 8, and our goal was to go out for Korean barbecue, which became its own nightmare briefly after that. But yeah, so I ended up getting into the top 8 on that, but it was clearly evident that I didn't deserve to be there, as Patricia Lamb curb stomped my face, and I was like, cool, thanks, Patricia, we're going to go get dinner. Have a good one. Good luck. See you in the finals. She ended up making the finals of that tournament, too.
She did.
She had, there was, what was the set? It was,
was Harley Quinn and the Gotham
Harley Quinn
Girls.
and the Gotham Girls, and she had Prometheus on her team. And something else that also kicked my butt in, and I think I had 2 Stompas on my team. My team was garbage for that. I looked at it and said, this is trash. What am I going to do with this? I did my best, but...
It's all we can ask for.
It's all we can ask for when it comes to sealed sometimes.
I had a
depending on
Secret
the set.
6 team, or whatever that was called.
Yeah, it was Secret 6. That's exactly it. But yeah, so what ended up turning out to, like, we went to the place that we were supposed to have the Korean barbecue, and it was now a completely different restaurant.
It was like a shoe store or something.
Yeah, it was a shoe store. I was like, hold on a second. Because
it's going to be real hard to get
barbecue before.
Yeah.
So then we had to go down the street to the Three Brewers, which is one of Amber's. Is it still one of your favorite restaurants? Okay. I didn't know if it still was. I know at the time it was. Definitely your favorite. I don't know if it's maintained that status, because it's a kind of a brewery restaurant where they make their own beer, which makes it reasonably priced. Because if you have beer from another place that anywhere else, you're paying like $13 a pint in some cases. It's absolutely disgusting.
Oof.
So, but yeah, We'll get you. We'll get you going in competitive soon enough. It is my plan. I don't know. I think I've leaked it before. I've mentioned it before. Is I am planning a show where, as a kind of like a resurgence of the metafix, but under the guise of trying to teach Amber the metagame and meta play through like this is what you understand of HeroClix. Let's add to that situation. So. But the hard part is, of course, trying to maintain that as not condescending as well.
Right.
So it's going to be like a conversation piece we're going to have, I think. Or maybe we'll teach Alexis how to be competitive.
It makes me feel any better, Amber. I'm also not a fan of Colossal Retaliators ID cards.
It's so much. It's too much to think about. And then I get even more like analysis paralysis when it comes down to like at Canadian Nationals where I a thing still. And it was like, okay, if I go over here, I get hit by a tank. If I go over here, I get mangogged. So it's like both ways I am screwed. Like there's no getting out of this. It's like which way would I prefer to die?
What you do is you take your Medusa here, you walk to wherever the tank is, and shoot the tank with the other thing, and then you go over here and try to kill the Mangog.
Yeah, Ed told me that afterwards.
Yeah, he's not going to tell you beforehand.
You just run at them as fast as possible and hope that they don't realize what's happening.
Yeah.
They get paralyzed by that.
You got to whip your hair forth. And then back later.
And then
Well,
back.
then also,
And then back.
he had mentioned it after I had done it, and he ended up colossal retaliating. And then I didn't realize, it took me, like, I think 2 matches later to understand what he had actually said to me, was that the only attack I had actually made was with the hair. And he was like, well, you should have just sidestepped so that the hair died, and then he had nothing to colossal retaliate on. And I was like, oh, that's what you meant.
If there's nothing there to retaliate on, they cannot retaliate.
It's why.
Am I gonna have
why
to like
Cyclops is so good.
I'm gonna have to take a Bruce Lee like approach to teaching you the meta. If there is nothing to retaliate upon, they cannot retaliate.
It was just so bad. Like, I don't know. Like, I had done so much practice, and, like, I had felt so good with that Medusa team, and then I came up against tanks, and I was like, what? Who still plays the tank?
Well, don't most of you guys play the tank? And I know all of 4 Points plays the tank.
That's who I was playing up against.
Yeah.
That's what it was. It's like every tank that weekend was 4 Points and some Jersey guys, and I was like, what the hell?
Yeah,
Come on.
4 Points and Tom play with the tank still.
Because
I knew
honestly,
Tom still did.
that is what Canadian Nationals is now. It's like the 7 people from Toronto, 4 Points Gaming, and the Jersey guys.
The Jersey guys.
Maybe some people from Ottawa
had-
or Montreal will show up.
We had John and his buddies come
Oh,
up
that's
too.
true. We did have some. Oh my gosh, I think he's from Maine.
In a New England
Mm,
area,
yeah.
yeah. So there's more, but there's
There were
definitely
more,
not
but
a lot of
there's, like,
Ottawa, Montreal
There
people.
was
That's
a
for
lot
sure.
more American. Like, the extra people that we didn't anticipate were just more Americans.
Yeah. I mean, and when you think about how the Americans actually outnumbered us and actually having Devin win this year.
Yeah, it's actually.
I'm having an
that
all-Canadian
kind of
final.
makes Devin's win even more impressive. Was that he had to slog through even more Americans than normal.
I think that even totes to the accomplishment of having the all-Canadian final.
Yeah.
Right?
They
Yeah.
both did it.
All these Americans, get them out of here.
And then Devin won't be back next year to defend the title.
That's usually the case, where it's like somebody wins and then the next year they can't show up. It's like, guys.
Devin's going to have a baby.
Oh.
I'm gonna message Devin now, like, Devin, work on your pullout game.
Oh, that's great.
Did make me feel bad for him at Worlds because he ended up jumping in with me and Emily because Asia wasn't able to go down for Worlds. So he went 5-0 at Team Worlds, and like I think I was 2-3 and Emily was like 0-5 or something, or 1-4. Like, she was having the roughest go of it. Like,
me and Emily both. I think she went 1-4.
yeah.
Because I went 0-5.
Yeah.
I was such a dead weight on Team Saurier this year. It was bad. And it was because we followed Tom's instruction. Let's bring Outwit. Outwit's important in the set. Outwit is not important when Jason is the guy playing against Stop Clix and Power Cosmics. Like,
Oh my god, that's how I felt with, like, my team was... I had a great team. I had Nimrod and Onslaught and a Sentinel. And, like, I ended up going 2-3, but, like, I scored a lot of points, so I was going into the last round, and, like, Devin was 5-0, and Emily was 1-3, I guess, at that point. or Devin would have been 4-0, and I was like, okay, if we win this round, we're in the top 32, like or the top 16. Like we just needed one more win, and then we were in, because we knew that we were that high enough on points. And I was like, okay, all I need to do is not face another Sentinel team, because the entire tournament, all I was facing were Sentinel teams. One of my wins was against a full point Dark Phoenix, but everything else were Sentinel teams. And they rip apart my team because they have Psychic Blast. And the one thing that Bastion and Nimrod hate is Psychic Blast, because Nimrod at 175 only has one click of Invincible, and then he has Impervious and Invulnerable for the rest of his dial.
Yep.
So if you're dealing 4 or 5 damage Psychic Blast, Nimrod goes down really fast.
Yeah.
So then, of course, my final round, I sat down against another Sentinel team. I was like, great, this is so great. I'm so excited for this. Had a hell of a time, though. It was a fun match, and it was always different kind of combinations, because this one was the Sentinel 1? What's it called?
1.
Sentinel Squad 1.
Sentinel Squad 1.
And he had the Magneto Danger Room pilot.
He had the combo.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike had to play against one of those in one of our rounds, and when he told me what it was, I was like, oh, that's gross. I mean, I had to play against a Dark Phoenix.
We had pulled the Sentinel Squad 1 and the Magneto, but then we gave the Magneto and the Sabretooth to Devin in a Brotherhood team with Spiral, and he obliterated everybody he went up against.
That's a good team.
The funny thing is like, I kind of more or less built that team for him, or like, I was like, yes, this has to be a team, do this, and then I'm like, Devin, you have to play it. And he's like, well, I guess. So he's like, we could do other two. I'm like, no, Devin, you're playing this team.
You see, Devin is the Mike in that case for us. It's like, shut up, Mike. Don't. No, you're playing this team. You know you're going to play the team. Tom is going to play the one-man army, and I'm going to play the junk. Stop trying to figure it out.
We made the robots, and I'm like, okay, I'm playing that. Now let's make a team for Emily.
Yeah, I love that process. And we've come a long way from, hey, Amber, you coming back into competitive? This was probably the furthest tangent we've taken in a couple years of the Patron Hangout. I am impressed.
Victory.
We did it. Quick address on the Discord. Nathaniel wants to know if 3 Archangels is a heck of a team or not.
I'm going to be brutally honest. I won the Archangel. I haven't looked at him.
No.
He's real good.
For Genesis Archangels, because he's in reference to month 3 for Genesis.
Uh-huh.
No, he's saying the prize.
Inset is an Archangel.
The prize Archangel.
Archangel is the prize that I won month 3, and I haven't looked at him yet.
He's real good.
I played against him once. Now, if this is the one I'm thinking of, I thought he was talking about the Inset.
No, Inset Angel is amazing. I love that Angel. Okay. He was like the crux of my team every month. But
all right. Oh, that's X-Men animated. Ooh, most of that's up now, eh? Regenesis. I gotta look at this again because I
trying to find
have not looked at him. Because I thought he was talking. I guess is it Archangel?
He has traded Steel Energy, Ranger close.
Oh, nice. Here we go. Steel Energy, but only with close or range attacks. When Archangel uses it and heals, modify. Oh, sorry, not only with, but with close or range attacks. When Archangel uses it and heals, modifies defense +1 until your next turn. Oh my god!
I think his values are really good too for 100 points.
Yeah, he's got hypersonic. He's indomitable. I don't think I'd play a team with just 3 of him personally.
I would, if you wanted to run like the monster team, I'd run him with Death Gambit and something else. I hate that Death Gambit doesn't have X-Men and or Horsemen.
Wow. I mean, that would make sense though. Wasn't that not like Gambit in?
It's Gambit, Horseman of Death, but he was the only Horseman of Apocalypse that actually retained their consciousness. Huh. He actually was trying to backstab Apocalypse the whole time. He was working with the X-Men.
Okay, because
awesome.
The only time I've witnessed Gambit as Death was in that. I can't remember which it was an offshoot one-shot book where like magic takes everybody through limbo to get somewhere, and then all of a sudden Gambit's death. Now I'm like, oh, this is cool. He's a bit of a jerk, but it's cool still.
His costume is probably one of my favorite. Gambit is my favorite character, and then his horseman costume is probably my favorite costume in all of comics.
Speaking of favorites, my favorite villain got his own book this week, and it was so good. Oh,
who's that?
So good.
Who's your favorite villain?
Wolverine, I haven't read yet.
What's that?
Who's your favorite villain?
Dr. Doom.
Nice.
Yeah. He's in my skin, literally. I got a tattoo of Dr. Doom.
Nice.
So
you're super pumped for the Fantastic Four sometime next year.
Absolutely. I mean, those other four guys, whatever. Dr. Doom is what I'm pumped for, because he's apparently leading into the next Savage Avengers storyline, too. So I was like, ooh, I'm glad I'm reading this book. Because
nice.
I've read some weird stuff.
I gotta read Savage Avengers.
It's good. It's actually a relatively decent series. If you like a bunch of guys, if you liked X-Force, back when we were reading it with the Kill Squad X-Force, you will like Savage Avengers. Do understand that Conan is in it, and Conan is literally big dumb barbarian guy.
He was in War of the Realms, wasn't he?
Dude, I am currently excitedly reading Red Sonja and Vampirella meet Betty and Veronica.
Yes, okay.
So I'm okay with Conan just showing up.
I mean, like, people would probably wonder, like, how do you get into HeroClix when all you read is just the Hulk, Conan, Red Sonja, Ninja Turtles, and
well, most of those happen to be HeroClix.
They do now, yeah. I mean, but like when I got into HeroClix, they were. I mean, the only one even on the radar was Hulk. So
yeah, the only thing I was reading at the time that HeroClix came out was Grant Morrison's New X-Men, and that really was more about the students than anything else. Like, that run was all about Xavier's school. But then, like, I've never really read Avengers, so, like, I know of the Avengers and stuff, and a lot of my comic, not necessarily knowledge, but awareness of characters comes from all of the animated shows that they made.
Yeah.
Because those are all around, and they're very good.
Me and a couple
some
friends.
are better, some are definitely better than others, and there was, I say, around 2008, 2009, right at the, like, beginning of the MCU, before it was even an MCU, they made a whole slew of animated shows. It was at the time that we had Wolverine and the X-Men, we had Spectacular Spider-Man, and Iron Man, Iron Avengers, or Armored Avengers.
there you go. You got there.
There were words. And I feel like there was another show at the time, but it was like, I really liked Wolverine and the X-Men, and I was so sad it didn't get a season 2 because it had an amazing cliffhanger.
Yeah.
And then Spectacular Spider-Man made me like Spider-Man. I do not like Spider-Man.
Spectacular Spider-Man was a weird one, too, because it fell under this weird curse. The director of that one also directed Young Justice, also directed something else, and it's a series of, like, there's 3 or 4 animated series that he's directed, all ended after 2 seasons, all ended when people were like, no!
We want more!
I can't remember who it was, but I remember hearing about it. I was like, wow, like, this guy is cursed to have the worst kind of bad luck.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I only ever watched a few episodes of Armored Adventures. It wasn't as good as the other shows that were on at the same time.
No. I'm trying to. There was a Batman on at the time that was half decent, wasn't there?
Batman Brave and the Bold.
There it is. Yeah.
Yes.
That one was silly.
Was a good
but it was
one.
good silly.
Yeah.
And John
it was
DiMaggio.
the right kind of silly.
John DiMaggio is still the best Aquaman ever.
Yes. I forgot about that Aquaman.
Yeah.
And Dietrich Bader made a really
He was
good
a really
Batman.
good Batman. When you told me it was Dietrich Bader, I was like, wait, the guy from Drew Carey?
Wait, who was he in Drew Carey?
He was like one of the dumb friends.
The really tall, dumb guy.
Yeah.
That's-
No, not the really tall dumb guy.
no,
the shorter
not Brian
dumb
Oh,
guy.
Stiles.
sorry. I'm 5 foot. Everybody's tall.
Yeah, because there was the one guy who was always on. Whose line is it anyway?
Ryan Stiles.
Ryan Stiles. Yeah.
Dude
Him
killed
and Dietrich Bader played like the 2 dumb best friends to Drew Carey, and Deirdre Grader was Batman.
Okay,
Brave and the
I just
Bold.
googled him and I'm like, okay, I know who it is.
Yeah, like you'll see his face like that guy.
Yep.
And it's even better when he's playing Batman, where I think everything he does in like live action is literally the dumb guy of the show.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like I don't think he's ever played like a smart guy on TV except for Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Archangels.
This is how we do. Oh my god.
Yeah, I would do 1 Archangel, 1 Gambit, and then 100 points of Monster.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that Archangel is good.
Yes.
And
My worry is he has no damage reducers, but that's just me. I have
hypersonic.
issues.
He's
That's true. He
hypersonic.
doesn't need to be anywhere near them.
Yeah.
And I think he has ESD.
Yeah,
he has
yeah.
defense power.
and shape change.
That's true. I can get very far
He
with shape.
can be outwitted, but I mean they have to make choices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Back to the man in the room, Mr. Azareth.
So this would be an interesting question for you guys to answer. So you guys are starting up a new store for HeroClix.
Ooh.
What is advice you would give to somebody trying to start a community in their area that does not currently have a presence?
Okay. The challenges I've run into with the store is obviously at first they don't have the product. Like you walk into a store, I want to play HeroClix there. Sure, let's play HeroClix here. By the way, I don't have anything. So the first step is trying to get stuff. And that is where, as a player, it's the hardest part. We got super lucky. Very recently, one of the stores in the Greater Toronto area dumped a bunch of stuff, including those Quick Start kits. The ones that had the Wolverine, or not the Wolverine, the Captain America, Thor, and Iron Man. So I got a box full of those that I gave to the store, and I said, here, give these to anybody who's even remotely interested in HeroClix.
Yeah.
As well as whatever maps we got in from some of the prize kits that have come in. From there, like if you're a judge and a player who has a collection, grab your extras box, bring all the cards for that stuff, bring it with you. Somebody might stumble into the game. For the first month or two, you're not running competition. You're running casual games under the tournament format. Personally, I'm using my massive excess of Mandarin rings and extra prizing I have accumulated as a frequent player of HeroClix to hand out to players who participate. And if I do kind of have a pseudo like, oh hey, you won the tournament, here's a thing from the bag. I don't run it in a competitive environment just yet. You got to make sure you use the win, make sure you use your Facebook, make sure you work with the store to advertise it. As a judge, you can turn to the store and say, look, you set up the account for the store, set me up as a volunteer, your hands off. Because stores don't want to do the work.
Sure.
It's the God's honest truth. Is if they can limit the amount of work that they have to do for it, they're better off. And from there, they just want to make... Their focus is, of course, making money. It's not that they don't care, but their focus should be making money as best they can. And a lot of stores are very reasonable when it comes to bringing in prizing. Our store, when we do start getting the monthly OP kits, I think our first one is going to be the one with Baron Mordo and Nightmare, which I'm super excited for. We're only charging $2 a head to kind of offset the cost of the thing. Not a big deal, and it's $2. Not a big loss for anybody, right? I mean, that covers the cost of the item for the store, and that's not much out of everybody's pocket to kind of jump in and, they don't have to, they understand that they're not trying hard. Personally, I wouldn't suggest starting anything at the rock level or higher in the first year. If it's a burgeoning community you're trying to get. One of the things that's great about HeroClix is it sells itself so long as somebody's playing it.
Yeah.
Like, if a comic fan sees HeroClix, like, what the hell is that? And like even more so with the new X-Men set, we have a young man who's been playing Nimrod since he got his hands on it, and people see Nimrod because he's a big white thing with the big pink thing showing up at the back. Like, he catches the eye, and a player walking by is like, "That's so cool! What is this game?" In addition to which, the store runs Warhammer. And one of the beauties of the crossover of that is a Warhammer player has a lot of work before they can start playing the game. A HeroClix player has to buy a couple packs and go. And it's very easily made into the side game or the side girl to your Warhammer. And the side chick, right? Magic is my side chick. But I play it very casually. I play Commander and Pauper. Like, that's... I mean, Commander is a beer and pretzels game.
Yeah, I love Commander.
And Pauper is, I show up at a Grand Prix, and I'm going to play some Sealed, I'm going to play some Draft, and I'm going to bring my Pauper deck, which cost me $27 to make. And that's because I pimped the lands.
Pauper deck, full art lands. Let's go.
It's good. I'm talking unglued lands, son. What's up? My lands, my basic lands, more expensive than my deck. But yeah, so starting from scratch is really hard. Our local area isn't a major HeroClix hub. In fact, I'm kind of the exception to the rule as far as attracting people, because here's my face right here. And then I also mentioned on the show on a regular basis, hey, I run games at Dolly's. I have a personal presence that's a little bigger than, say, a lot of people who are just starting a game. But to be brutally honest, the two new players didn't play with me. They don't know who I am. They don't even know I have a YouTube channel yet.
Who's this guy that keeps screaming at me?
Yeah. Well, they found us through Dolly's Facebook page because I post. That's an important thing, is work with the store to advertise it on multiple social media things. The store that we go to has both a fan page and a group page, and we post our event links from the win on that so that people know that these events are happening and we mean it. So, yeah, those are the big things for sure for starting up a community. Anything I missed, neighbor?
No, my big point was the fact that, like, if you get space to sit down and just have a game of HeroClix going, it's eye-catching. It is. Yeah. People walk past it and they're like, oh, what's that? Yeah. Like, it just... A lot of people will stop. Like, it might not bring you any new players, but that is also how to bring new players in, is just being like, hey, here's this game. It's a very visual game. It's very much it's like, if you were to walk past, say, a table of Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh! Or whatever, there's so much hidden information in the hand, that people are holding their cards, that you don't really get a sense of what's going on, especially if you've never seen the game before. And this, like, our new venue, it's primarily a card shop. So I've gone in plenty of times, and there's a bunch of games. I'm like, I know that's Magic. I know that's Pokemon. I think that's Yu-Gi-Oh! That might be Dragon Ball Z. I have no idea what that is.
Not Dragon Ball Z. That game's dead.
And it's like...
Yeah, he's right.
And so it's like there's so much information that you don't get even just walking by and glancing at the cards. But HeroClix, it's literally all on the table. And because of the size and scale of it, it's, again, it's eye-catching. It draws the person in. And because of the communication of it, too, and the flurry of rolling dice and the excitement of it, like, anybody playing... like us, or even going to like Worlds and stuff, like HeroClix can be a very loud game. So that also catches people's attention because you're rolling the dice, you're calling your shots, you're exclaiming, hey, yeah, that hit, oh my god, critical hit.
Yeah. How many critical hits have made you go, oh, in a game of HeroClix? And how many cards being played in Magic have really made you do that? It's always like some dick move, like a counter spell, or, oh, you're attacking, removal, and, you know, that's a Commander game where two guys are like, oh, what's up? HeroClix, every time there's a critical hit, it's like, oh, or there's a critical miss, like, ooh. Like, there's a reaction from players.
Yeah. I know, coming from a card game career that I used to have, it's like I could sit and play a card game and never actually say a word. Like, if I'm playing with somebody who also knows the game at my level, we would just sit there and never talk about the game. We would talk about other things and nobody would catch on. It's very vocal, like you said, of HeroClix being a very open, vocal game.
Yeah. And that's another thing, is when somebody is standing on the outside looking in, and we're using the terminology in HeroClix. Okay, we know that the terminology, once you really get into the deep nitty gritty, is a little more complex. But when a guy says, I'm going to leap climb over here, and walks over a building and trees and blocking, a player on the outside is like, oh, he just ignored all the terrain, eh? But this guy walked around. What's going on? Because of the communication of the game, somebody watching from the outside can start to catch on really quickly. So, like you were saying.
The base mechanics just make sense. Oh, he rolled those dice. That person moved his character.
Yeah. And what's more, if I see, let's say we go complete layman, non-gamer. We see somebody playing with playing cards. They see a 7 of clubs. They know a 7 of clubs. They know there's a card game involved. There's probably not a lot complicated going on. Somebody sees Magic, doesn't know anything about these games outside of these playing cards. They're looking and go, nope, too complicated. I'm out. Like,
yep.
They see 3 different cards on the table. It's like, there's no way. And they see words on the card. And it gets scary for them. Whereas HeroClix, you see it on the board. People know Monopoly. They know board games. And it's got a board game feel to it. Mm-hmm. So, the game sells itself so well. It's a shame. It's just a
matter of having the space to be able to do that.
The space,
if you don't have a venue where you can sit down and play a game, you're not going to be drawing anybody in.
Yeah, and one thing that is super annoying, and I'm really starting to discover now, maps are problematic in the game right now. Like, I cannot believe how much of a problem. The fundamental requirement to play the game is the map, and they are hard to come by. You need to get OP kits to get maps. You need to get starter kits to get maps. And HeroClix, they don't release enough starter sets. I'm sorry. I love this game, but there's flaws in it. And a lot of it is in what they sell. They lack the sources to give us these tools. To the fact, like, I had to send guys who are coming to our store to another local comic shop who just happens to have some of the premium maps, like still on the shelf. We didn't have a chance to buy it, or I came home with them from Worlds the year they previewed them. So
they've been sitting on that shelf pretty much since they came out, and even up until recently they had a WizKids office sitting there because there was nobody in the area to buy it, and then anybody that was even remotely close by already had one.
So that is another thing to remember, is when you're starting a new community, new store, if there is another store that has resources, do not be afraid to send people there so that they can have some, because one of the hard things about starting up a new store, a new community, is getting product in your buddy's hands or in your new players' hands. These brand new players need stuff, and until your new store gets the new product in, that's going to be a big challenge. That's why I also suggest bring your common and uncommon and rare extras, the stuff that you know you're never going to get rid of. And if a brand new player is kind of looking over going, oh, what's this? Do you want to play? Here's a bunch of figures. Go nuts. Have some fun. Do you want them back? No, I'll keep them. No, don't try to give them back to me, please. No givesy backsies. Slap them out of their hands. They're yours now.
We did also luck out in the fact that we do have, within the same neighborhood, essentially, a comic book shop that does have HeroClix in stock. They used to be the store that we regularly bought from, and they still have, like, tons and tons on their shelves. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure they still have, like, Trinity War.
They have some Golden Age sets.
Yeah. And it's just because there's nobody in the area. But also we luck in the fact that they don't run events or anything, so they just have that stock sitting there. So we can sit down at our venue that doesn't have any product and turn to our new players and be like, hey, go to this store up the street from us, buy all your stuff, and then come back here and play.
That is another important thing about running when you're starting casual. Keep a Golden Age, because we are all very generous about giving away our old crap.
Yeah.
We are very generous about that. But then we leave these players stranded when we turn around and say, okay, 300 or 500 points modern. And they go, is this modern? Is this modern? Is this modern? What about this one? And it's like, oh, God, okay, I'm sorry, man. I've given you nothing but old crap. So, here's a team. And that's why I say keep it golden until all the players are on that kind of baseline. They know the resources they can check. And just can't stress this enough. Introduce them to HC Realms or any other. I know some people were working on some apps to kind of go beyond HC Realms. Stick with HC Realms until those get on the floor, but point them to the resources they need to know about. One of the first things I said is like, here's the win. This is how you're going to find our events. HC Realms. Stay out of the forums. Go to the unit section. Use the unit section. I see people still post in the forums, and I wonder if they hear how we talk about them on the outside. There's a guy I heard once refer to HC Realms as the MySpace of HeroClix. He's like, well, we all use a unit section. Let's be a little careful about that. But
wasn't that Tom?
What's that?
Didn't Tom say that?
It was either Tom or Aries. I'm not sure. It might have been Aries.
Oh, it might have been Aries.
Yeah.
It was Aries. Now that you mention it,
that's a very Aries comment to make. Yes.
Yeah, actually, when we get newer players that have been coming in, and they ask me, it's like, well, how do I get better? I'm like, well, one, I haven't been playing this game all that long either, but I direct them to the win, HC Realms, and you guys.
Oh! We need to put out more content.
Which actually was going to lead into another question.
Yeah. We do have to do one thing a little bit better, and we have to make a t-shirt or a disclaimer. Jason's teams are not advice. I will give good advice, just not in the form of my teams necessarily. My teams are me. I have a ego problem.
Yeah.
I have a me problem. My teams are not good advice. You should tell people that. When Jason says he's going to play a team, that's a bad idea.
if you were thinking about running a team that Jason said he runs, ask me and I'll tell you.
Yeah. If nobody else is running it, don't do it. We should make that a t-shirt. Jason's teams are not advice.
They're a warning.
Don't try Jason's teams at home.
You're gonna have a bad time.
If you try Jason's teams at your local events, you're gonna have a bad time.
Well, I just got harassed by Patrick, our sponsor. I gotta get on that. He wants an article.
You need to write articles.
I felt so bad. I felt like such a cop-out. The last time I was asked for an article, I wrote one up, and I did one on the Thomas Riker ruling, where...
The one that got errated?
And how it was like, this is what everybody wanted it to do. And then, like, a day later, they errated it. Okay.
Why?
Like, I was literally sitting on the park bench while my kids were playing at the park, and I wrote that article. And I was just like, alright, so this is what, yep, okay, good. I mean, to be fair, I've actually gotten way too used to writing, like, full-on articles and whatever on my phone, to the point where, like, sitting down at a computer to write something is very uncomfortable now. But I've actually done a couple of the Majestics Rules Corner articles sitting at the park bench while my kids are playing.
That's funny.
But yeah, I just feel bad. That felt so phoned in, and I sent it to Jason. I was like, "Is this okay? Like, I'm not proud of this."
I used to write them at work, and then I got a job I care about. Which is the job I have now. If anybody from here happens to be looking right now, just the job I have now is fantastic. I love it, guys. And if you are watching, don't tell anybody, because this is the thing we keep. This is a secret. We're keeping separate. I don't need to put that disclaimer in every video.
I build HeroClix teams while I'm at work.
I only do that during my lunch or downtime, downtime generally. Yeah, if I have nothing to do, that's what I'm doing. I'm building
it's like our
teams.
Our TO sends out the email, and I'm like, all right, I've got 5 teams built now.
I'm building them. I'm sorry. I'm creating bad ideas. What I'm doing.
Creating cautionary tales.
And the problem is nobody's willing to tell me that's like, don't do this, except for Devin. Devin's the only guy.
Devin's always like,
Devin will flat out tell you, like, Jason, your team is bad. Awesome, thanks, Devin. And as long as I get a positive record with the team, it's better than Devin thought it was. Like my team I brought to Worlds. I went 3-2. That's a positive record.
True.
good record.
So
That's how I did with a meta team.
I play Battle Royales.
Amber won out of all of us.
I wanted to be with you until round 3. Round 3 was when things started turning around.
Man,
All right.
Worlds is such a good experience.
So this was from new
How to get new
communities.
players, yeah.
We spent a lot of time on that topic.
We
so-
did
Yeah.
actually talk about that topic.
Most certainly.
So we're leaving it back to you to
Yeah.
give us another question.
Oh,
Spotlight's on you again.
what is... It's hard to answer because obviously schedules and all. What is the ETA on new live games and new tutorial games?
Okay. Live games, I'm working on that. If we do them, they're probably going to be Fridays. If we
Okay.
get them going again. We're going to try bi-weekly. But we have to work within our schedule too because we do have some things every so often. We'll definitely give a week's warning when we're going to do a live game, for sure. Because we need to improve the content. I think everybody is sick of Into the Mind of Madness and Metal Lab, especially now with Metal Lab just being me. We're gonna be talking to some people because I need some backup. Mike is on set. Tom's going through rehearsals, and I mean, this week we're kind of safe because of Thanksgiving. So, but that said, we are working on content. The problem we ran into is content block, and by content block I mean I don't know what to do. I feel like I mean when it comes to Metafix, I feel like Metal Lab covers that, and the way I present information on the Metal Lab is still kind of the same way I do with Metafix, where I don't give the direct answer. I don't like giving the direct answer because I need things to be a little bit more timeless. Even when I did Metafix and I did episodes like, hey, this set and the effect on the game, I felt that those were cheating episodes because I don't like to give direct answers in that sense. I like to point people in the right direction and to think about what something is going. I don't. When somebody says, "What team should I build?" on this channel, I tell them in more polite words to go F themselves because, quite frankly, that's not my goal. My goal is to teach players how to think and use the tools that the game already provides as a whole. Without giving the direct answer. I teach thinking is kind of my goal. Like I don't want to teach with the answer because the teacher gives you 1 + 1 = 2. And we just accept that 1 and 1 is 2. But y is the combination of two numbers 2. And, sometimes that's kind of where I'm going with it. So instead of going 1 + 1 = 2, I say x + y = z. X is tool 1, Y is tool 2, Z is kind of the goal we're getting to. There are tools that give you X, there are tools that give you Y, and if you want to get to Z, this is how you do it. But sometimes Z is not an answer you can provide. So you have to kind of find a way to work with X and Y and avoid Z. And that would be an example of what I try to present as far as the meta is concerned. And I think I personally feel like I kind of spent enough time on Metafix with that I don't need to do any more episodes of that. Dial It Up has been problematic because every time we think we understand the rules, WizKids just turns around and goes, no, that's not fundamentally how it works. A good example is the current object ruling. That makes absolutely no sense to me, and that doesn't fall in line with how we understand the game. And that is a big problem we come up with Dial It Up, is where back in the day we were looking at rules like prior to Mighty Thor, our understanding of the rules by the time we got to just before that was solid. Like, and it's because it's the rule set from day one, with minor tweaks here and there. When we got to the Mighty Thor rule overhaul, while most things stayed the same, there was so much different and so much that is not on the same level that Dial It Up has become complicated for us, because if we put up an episode and then we're wrong and we don't have our basis of comparison, or our understanding of how the rules work is incorrect with the way that it's presented now, we now have a crap episode, and we either have to delete it and then screw up our numbering system, or put a big disclaimer on it and say, this episode we were wrong and this is why, and then that becomes like a portion of another show that we have to do, the corrections show even. So,
I was thinking of probably maybe not like once a week or whatever, but doing a live show every so often whenever the new rule.
When we ever get the wind dumps come in?
When wind dumps come out. Have live wind dumps. And basically go over them and be like, this is how it works now. This is dumb. Alright. But also kind of doing like a live interaction of answering questions or whatever. It does come down to one of those things where very constrained for time. And the other is just, as Jason was saying, the comprehension of the rules is rough. Even though we're 2 years now into this new rule set, and there's still stuff that we're finding. There's still stuff that we're like, oh, hey, yeah, I totally understand that. No. Well, how did I get that wrong? That doesn't make sense. Like, why is that wrong?
At Worlds, I found out that range object attacks were minimum range 6.
Yeah.
What? So, yeah.
I learned, and like, honestly, it makes sense. It's one of those things I never investigated, but I got to learn that you cannot use giant reach to destroy something, because
it's not a close attack.
It has to be an attack.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Like, it's just, it's little things like that where, like, you can find it if you look in the rules, but because we still, if you are a player that has played this game more than 2 years, you're probably going to have a rough time with certain rulings, because we had that precedent of a decade and a half of rules, and that rules understanding being there, that every time I come across something in the new rules where I'm like, okay, I think it's this. Now, am I remembering the new rules or am I remembering the old rules? Now I need extra clarification. And because in the lifespan of this game, the rules overhaul is still in its infancy. It's still very new. Even though it's been 2 years, it's
scaled
still
out
very
for the game.
New. That not everything has been answered. Not everything has been clarified, and you can't always open the rule book or open the win and be like, okay, I can get that answer. And so much more is left up to interpretation. And when I'm running a show where I have people that I've never met before come up to me and be like, hey, you taught me to play the game. Hey, every time I need something new, like, I go to your video and you tell me how it is. And then to come into that position and then be like, guys, I don't have the answers anymore. And unfortunately, that's why we haven't had Dial It Up in, like, 2 years. Because, and, like, 4 years running, and then 2 years I haven't been able to do it because I don't have the confidence that I'm going to give you guys the right information.
I'm going to talk a little about how the sausage was made. We tried to make 3 episodes of Dial It Up a couple months back. Like, we're going to say about a year into the new rules. And every single time we tried to do it, an argument's, like, broke out. Because I'd be behind the cameras like, no, you're explaining, this is wrong. This is incorrect. This is not how this works, actually, Amber. Or, you know, it sparked some kind of discussion or argument where it's like, we can't do this episode if we don't, with our understanding of it. And then it would immediately turn into Amber putting a question on the win, and then us subsequently getting denied. Which is why one of my jokes is, I put a question into the win and I got denied. It's not really a joke, it's more of a piss off. Because, honestly, the system the win uses is, for answering rules questions, is great in one half, and in the other half, it is absolutely the worst thing in the world. On half one, what they post for all of us to know is great. On this other half, your rejections are worthless, right? Because if I ask the question, I need an answer.
Yeah, there shouldn't be a rejection process.
Right? Like, if I understand,
if the question is legitimate,
it's even worse than that, because their rejections have like footnotes, because their rejection is, we've denied this question, go read this page of the rule book.
Yeah.
If I hadn't already read that rule of the page book, do you really think I'd be asking this question?
Right.
Like,
so, and
clearly,
they can clearly
your rule
edit
book
these
is
things.
not telling me what I need to know.
There's a handwritten, hand-edited portion of this, obviously. Correct me on it. Tell me what's up. You don't have to post it on the message board, but give it to me, man, or something. Because
My favorite are when I actually quote the rule book, and then they tell me to go look at the page that I quoted.
Buddy. Yeah. And, like, I understand it's a volunteer-focused system, but it's also one of the front-facing systems that WizKids has. Like...
And it's like one of the most important systems that it should have is rules.
Like, we need to know the rules of your game.
This game is hard.
Right? And this has actually been my sticking point for a long time, is there's got to be something to improve on. And, you know, imagine you're a new player and you don't quite understand how Giant Reach interacts with Quake. And you get this pissant answer of, you didn't follow Rule 6, and check this page of the rule book. It's like, no, that didn't answer the question.
Like, if you took the amount of time you took to tell me to check the rule book, you could have told me how it works.
Yeah,
yes.
Exactly. Like, and
absolutely.
Giving people the rules, you do have to give the answer. It's not the metagame like me where I'm giving strategy, like it's like they're following my process for rules, and it's like, no, rules, you need to give the answer, because I've read the book and I'm now looking for the index or the crib sheets so that I can check that my understanding of what you wrote is there. Whereas when I'm presenting my metagame stuff, I'm trying to teach people to think, and that's think with their tools. But if they don't give us the tools, right?
Yeah.
It's such a piss off anyway. And, you know, if you want to cite the rule, cool. But you add that clarification to where you're going to cite the rule on me. I mean, that's cool too, right? Like, give me both so that I can reread that and then read the answer and understand it. Like,
yeah, that's another thing. They just give you a page number. They don't tell you where.
There's a lot of things on this page.
There's a lot of things on that page. And, like, maybe there's one sentence that I missed, and maybe that's the sentence I need. But if I don't know more than just a page number, like, what am I looking at here?
They have got to stop putting important things in those little black boxes.
Yeah.
Like sidebars.
Those are very easy to skip over because, like, okay, I don't need to understand. I'm going to look at that example later. I'm just kind of reading through this rule set.
Because I assume those are exceptions.
Yeah, those always seem like... But they put the most important exceptions in them. It's like, ooh! Oh, God.
Like, even, there is a Facebook group, for rock judges. And I'm still a part of it, even though I'm not officially a rock judge.
Oh, I'm in there too. Don't worry about it.
And one of the ones that came up...
Oh, look, I'm not anymore.
One of the ones that came up was, if you outwit or along the same lines, take away barrier, do the tokens go down? And I had mentioned, I was like, yeah, it's actually in one of the sidebars. It legitimately uses that example of outwitting barrier, and the barrier stays on the board until the duration ends. And they're like, oh yeah, I'll have to look that up. Like, I totally missed that. And then somebody else was like, it's literally right after the thing that you just quoted. And, like, that's how easy it is to miss stuff in the rule book. Like, those sidebars, if you're not, because, like, the way they're presented in those black boxes off to the side, it doesn't make sense logically to read it. Yeah, like, because you're reading all of your stuff, you're not looking over here.
It's worse if you're used to other games, board games or other things, Where in there they put an example but when you're reading that, it's like, okay, I understand this. There's the example. No, I understand it. It's cool. And then you go on to the next.
I don't need the example.
Yeah, I don't need the example. Whereas this example is like, oh, by the way, in this specific example, which is going to come up a lot, here's a thing that our rulebook doesn't explain. Because that's another thing. The rulebook doesn't explain powers. They explain the existence of it, and they explain the wording that the powers use, but they don't explain the powers. So in this example, if this is my first time reading the rulebook, when he outwits the power, all right, cool, whatever that means, like, I'm going to have to revert to the past.
Yeah, what is outwit?
Right? What do these words mean? So, oh my God, so, wow, what did we start on?
I'm getting you guys off on serious tangents.
More content.
More
content.
Now, we do have 2 games that have been filmed and to be edited.
Jason needs to learn how to use Premiere. Yeah. I just gotta set aside a day.
Yeah.
I blame Borderlands 3 on this week, me not getting anything done. So sorry on that one. It's a really good game.
This might be behind the scenes. Are you gonna go back to doing like little pop-ups of the power that you're using? Because you did that in some of your older videos. That actually really helped me out.
Yeah. Okay.
That's all in editing.
That's what I figured.
Games don't have it because we don't have that resource to be able to actively bring stuff up. We don't have someone sitting here on OBS being like, "Oh, they have that power."
I have a solution. I have to try. It's not going to be easy, and it's going to. Give me some time for live games, not right away.
Right.
But for the future, if I can get an investment in, I know OBS does have, or there's external tools I can get, external add-ons, or maybe I can get an extension on a monitor or something, so we can have something to look at what we're doing and add things. It's gonna take this system that we have right now is definitely cobbled together from a lot of really weird ideas I've had, and I can't believe they worked. Like, for the live games, I cannot believe the fact that a USB extension and a tripod was literally all we needed to do this. But that also takes us, like, there's the kitchen over there, and here's where the computer with OBS is. So our choices would be to either find a way to play in this little space that we have here, which
that looks difficult,
is not the likely outcome, or find a way to set it up over there and maybe make a monitor over here a little bit more modular, where I have a wireless mouse and I have a monitor, and I can probably rig something together in order to do it. It's just a matter of coming up with the idea and the rig and the plan on that one. So for live games, once we get them started again, 3 or 4 of them, don't count on the powers being on the screen. We'll do our best to point them out. And then throughout that time, I'm just going to come up with stupid ideas. And then we're going to take all the cool stuff that we have sitting in our Premiere folder and shift it into an OBS folder that I can just drag things in and just be like, click, 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 go. I'm probably also going to switch over to Streamlabs OBS, because right now I'm using old school OBS, but it's got all my stuff. And, like, my setup is perfect on it right now, that, like, when I switch to Streamlabs, like, oh, but I'm going to be able to get transitions, I'm going to be able to look better, and, stuff like that. So there's a lot of work ahead. It's just a matter of squeezing it into our already hectic, busy schedule and my other hobby of video games. So I am going to have to... we do plan on getting, like, one of those whiteboard calendars eventually. And then once we do that, maybe my life can get a little bit more organized and I can figure things out. One of our biggest massive challenges we have right now is my work schedule versus Amber's work schedule. So our kids go to bed at 9:30. All of them, our daughter included, and that's when we generally target our filming for. But then that gives Amber 1 hour, because she has to be at bed at 10:30 because she works at 6 in the morning. She's off at 2:30, which gives her some time later in the mid afternoon. But I don't want her bogged down in that time with strictly editing all the time. So
because I have to take care of 3 children and make dinner in that time.
You say children, I say maniacs. And certain content is harder to edit than others. Our unboxings, quick edit. Our movement attacks, quick edits. I don't mind giving her that. Because actually more of the time on that is spent rendering the video and setting it up and exporting it than actually editing, to be honest. Because she has that down to a T. But then everything else is kind of really in-depth. Like, somebody asked for top 10 videos again. And I'm the one who has to edit those. Because I have, when Amber goes to bed at 10:30, I have kind of infinite time. I still try to go to bed around midnight, 1 o'clock. So it gives me an hour and a half to 2 hours or to 3 hours without anything. There are some nights where maybe I can just spend most of the time editing and Amber can be playing a video game, and we're kind of cool with that because we're an awesome couple. You're supposed to use the other hand, Amber. There we go. We'll work on it. We're still working on our no-look high five. But so there can be nights where it's like, look, hon, I gotta edit. She'll play a video game. I mean, she's way behind me in Borderlands 3. I'm in the middle of second playthrough. She's still like level 13, 16? 20. She hit level 20. I mean, again, you're still minuscule compared to me. Yeah. You're halfway through the game.
But again, I get that like 1 hour. The only reason why I've managed to get so far is that I had 2 days this week where I didn't have the kids because of like PD days and stuff, and I had a day 2 weeks ago where I took the day off sick, and I spent most of the day sleeping, and then I played some Borderlands.
Yeah. So long and the short of it is, we have to rework and rejigger with our schedule. So if we can come up with some content that is easy to edit, Amber can do it in the afternoon, and it's not a big deal. But the big projects have to be taken on by me. And then I have to kind of get my ADHD under control and just focus on things and schedule myself out. That is a big thing where it's like, if I'm not scheduling myself, I am screwing up big. And I'm it's not a New Year's resolution. It's something I want to do before the new year. So when we get into the new year, I kind of want to be back into full form and, make it so that I'm not letting down our beautiful patrons like you.
Aww.
But we have our roadmap, our plan. We have our goal. Sorry, we have the goal. We have to write the map. Once we write the map, steer the ship in the right direction, everything's going to be awesome again, and we're going to be back to Married with Clix that we all loved, minus all the swearing that we started with. Oh, man, that's my favorite story still. Wait, kids watch this? We got to stop swearing.
Our kids are also at that age where it's really exciting for them that their parents have a YouTube channel. So now all of their friends want to watch their YouTube channel, and it's like, no, don't do it.
Yeah, it's really weird because kids just kind of want to watch a thing on YouTube. They're really weird about that. I'll never get that. All right, so we started at content. Hey, we actually stayed on topic this time.
Stayed on topic.
It's all about
getting our content better.
Yeah.
One of our investors wanted to know, Amber. Sorry we didn't have the PowerPoints ready.
I'll let it slide this time.
All right. Actually, we have one in the Discord.
I actually like this question.
Nathaniel wants to know, does including WWE in Pauper enhance or defeat the purpose of the you don't pay to win Pauper events?
I know how I feel about this.
I know how I feel about it too. And I want to do it without I want to put this opinion forward, pointing out the fact that I respect what the Pauper goal is still, but certain decisions have been made recently that I don't 100% agree with. to point out, one of them is the WWE thing, because I believe in the idea of new player friendly. And when a new player is dropped into a format, and you have to stress a bunch of rules, you have to make it as easy to jump into this format as you possibly can. And the big problem I have is the popper is the HeroClix popper is kind of missing that tabbing system that HeroClix has wonderfully created for us. And it's part of my goal that I have with the Everyman format and sticking to that. So with Everyman, what I basically said is fast forces and commons only. Why? Well, they're all white tab, and they're pretty easy to go off of. And I say no primes because the green thing is obviously there. I've obviously had to make a couple exceptions because there's some complications courtesy of Infinity Challenge and X-Men. X-Men did I add X-Men animated to the I don't know. I have to double check that. I have to update my document, my article, my website. So that said, the WWE guys are going to have chase tabs, which is problematic in its own sense because that bronze tab is going to make it confusing. Granted, I understand that they're purchasable off the shelf go. I get that. And their availability is kind of there, but their availability is 100% focused on how well the store stocks the items. The stores don't stock the items very well, or they only stock for pre-orders because this is a super risky product for stores. I have to stress that one. Certain stores aren't going to be able to keep extra product on this one. It's 100% the facts. It will cause that number of problems. And then what ends up happening is not enough stores order it. That means there's not enough out in the world, and then the secondary market blows up on it, and then people are going to be pissed. That's problem number one. Problem number two is a new player's going to be like, why is this bronze tab figure across from me? I just brought white and green stuff. I thought this was commons and uncommons only. Now, that said, there are the Rock and Sock Connection figures, and there are the Mixed Match Challenge figures. All have white tabs. I'm cool with them being in it. I'm also cool with that ring being in it because that ring, again, purchased off the shelf thing. But I do believe there is a level of confusion and power leveling in regards to the purchase one at a time guys, because those guys seem to be set up more like super rares and rares in competitive level. Because if you actually, there is a power creep of rarity. You pay less for a higher rarity figure, and some of these wrestling guys are downright dirt cheap for some really good stuff. And I think all of this kind of folds together into this set of problems I do have with the off-the-shelf WWE stuff getting into it. That said, I'm probably going to be guilty of using them.
Yep.
Because, one, they're good. Two, the WWE. I am wearing a wrestling shirt right now. I was just wearing a wrestling hat. I'm obviously a fan. And I'm going to probably, between New York and Ontario Provincials, I'm going to play a wrestling team, and I'm going to play a Sentinel team. And that's going to be my plan for that weekend. So, on one hand, I disagree with some of the decisions in regards to that. I also disagree with Highlander. Fight me. I don't care. I also disagree with the inclusion of the uniques. My opinion of it doesn't change the decision making. And that's kind of the goal on it. It's like, I can't say what I think is fact and go off of that. I have to go off of their rules. And if their rules are Highlander, cool, I'm stuck with playing Graydon Creed.
And one friend of humanity.
Exactly. Right? And if they say wrestling's allowed, John Cena's coming, Finn Balor's coming. Sorry, guys.
Eddie Guerrero. Let's go.
So, long and the short of it, I feel like it confuses outside players to the format, but I also feel like that in the decision is informed by not necessarily the original creator of the popper format. So, also get a WordPress and put your rule set up there. I can't keep downloading a PDF for this stuff. Or give me a constant source that isn't a Facebook, because I want to share this stuff publicly.
Give me a Google Doc. Give me something.
I mean, not even a Google, like, put it up on a WordPress site, and you can edit WordPress stuff, and you can link it on the sidebar. We have a free WordPress that we keep the Everyman format on. I just have to update it because I keep forgetting it because Popper just overwhelmed. I'm gonna throw this little barb in there. I don't believe a Popper format should be as competitive as they're making it right now. I think this format alone is a little too young. Even Magic the Gathering has had maybe 2 pro qualifiers in their Popper format. And those are realistically low level events. They're like WKOs sub WKOs, summer event type events. Granted, they do lead to things. But they've only had 2. I feel like this is too much too soon for the format. And that is it. I'm going to just shut up now. Amber, go ahead.
No, I have nothing.
You got nothing?
No.
Why not?
Because you cover basically everything. Originally,
okay.
I was... originally I was against... I was on the other side of the argument, but you stated your case, and now I'm on your side.
I'm the same way.
Oh, really? You were like, yeah. Oh, I have an opinion. I'm going to fight you. No, you're kind of right.
Yeah, you're right. Because I was all for the WWE figures because they're easily accessible.
Yep.
That was my thing, where the whole idea of the Popper was not necessarily pay for, this isn't pay to play, pay to win. It is something that's available for everybody. And I was like, these are going to be on the shelf products. These are going to be available for everything. And then everything he said, I was like, oh, wait, no, I agree with that.
Yeah. I didn't think about, stores are taking a gamble on this. Oh, this product could be really expensive secondary market.
Yeah. Granted, Popper could also blow up any secondary market. Let's say they never went Highlander and States is around the corner. How much are we paying for Medusa now? Right? Yeah. Medusa skyrockets to $10 a pop. It's just an uncommon. Yeah, but people want lots of them. Deal with it, bro. Yeah. Right? So, unfortunately, the popularity of a format is going to skew prices high. That's just going to be the thing. And like I said, it is kind of dependent upon whether or not the store decides to or knows that they're going to sell enough WWE. Or, they happen to be running states and be like, yo, guys, WWE is going to be legal. You guys want any? Just let me know. I'll buy it.
Push that product.
So, it's kind of on the stores, but the stores need to be informed, and the judges need to inform them, and they need to they have to be on the side of Popper in this case and be like, yo, how many of you guys are coming into the event, and how many of you guys want WWE stuff? Please tell me now so we can get this guy covered. And I what I would hate to find out is all of a sudden certain WWE characters get allocated. All of a sudden, Undertakers are in short supply because they didn't send out enough Undertakers to the right stores. Or one store wanted 27 Undertakers and another store wanted 7. But this one that wanted 7 gets 2, while this other store got 27 or 20 even.
Yeah, that would be a problem.
Right? So if there's an allocation, all of a sudden, we have an immediate problem. And I think that's... I'm going to shut up now because I feel sometimes I feel like I'm trashing the format, and I really do enjoy the format, even though I made my own. And that's that. It's hard because it feels. I look petty when I'm doing it. It's Jason, you're just angry because your format didn't pick up. It's
right.
No,
you don't want to be the guy where it's well, my format didn't go anywhere. But when you have legitimate concerns, you want to be.
And it's not even. And I think the difference is you're not saying this isn't good. You're saying I don't agree with this, and here's why.
Yeah.
And posing a valid argument.
Yeah.
I'm more okay with the WWE figures than I am with the prime not primes.
Yeah, when it comes down to it, the Avengers Infinity primes not primes, they suck. I'm sorry.
Yeah, come on, put them in. They suck.
Whatever. But I get into a problem.
The Danger Rooms.
Magneto Sabretooth are kind of good.
Yeah, especially when Sentinel Squad 1 is also an uncommon.
Right? And I was fumbling my way through it. I didn't have a vehicle card handy, and I still don't. Actually, Sentinel Squad 1's over there now that I realize.
Battle Fury characters can still pilot.
They can still pilot. All right, cool. So
I'm
yeah,
almost
there's
positive.
that problem too. It's like 2 Sentinel Squad 1s, one with a saber tooth and charge, and the other one with running shot and a Magneto. Have fun, guys. Oh, I don't care about my limits anymore.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, you can actually give Sentinel Squad 1 Battle Fury, the one with the saber tooth. It's like, well, shape change.
That's a shame, Nimrod.
That's too bad for you.
It's not gonna go well. I mean, I'm sorry.
I'm playing Eddie Guerrero in States. Let's do it.
Eddie Guerrero. All right, so I'm gonna take an action token. All right, so now I'm gonna attack you 3 times. What?
Triple flurry. Let's go.
I theme team prop. What? Oh, and now I'm going to give you the 3 amigos. Hold on. Viva la raza.
Yup. Plus his prob is super good.
Yeah.
I love his prob.
Oh man, I'm looking for it. I'm gonna be guilty of using the WWE guys. I'm sorry, guys. My disagreements notwithstanding, I'm still playing within the format.
Yep.
All right. That was from the Discord. So Azareth, before Mike gets on, do you have another one to jump in?
What figure and or figures are you most excited about rotating in June or July?
June or July? That okay?
Because it's gonna be June or July. We don't know if it's gonna be before or after Nationals.
Yeah. What we do know is Elseworlds, Mighty Thor. Oh, Undead's going. Thor Ragnarok, and probably Harley Quinn, along with Star Trek and the original series, are probably all gonna be gone. Bye, Trelane.
Buy a Muck Time.
Buy a Muck Time. Oh my God, a Muck Time in the underground cave. Peace. I'm sick of you.
Amber is right. Unimind is the correct answer.
I mean, yeah, Unimind. I've been seeing a lot less of him, so I'm not so concerned with him.
I'm okay for there to not be a Mangog anymore.
Yeah, Mangog. Goodbye.
No Flora.
Okay.
No Flora Colossus.
Flora Colossals. Bye bye. Hold on a second. There's more in Mighty Thor. Give me a second here.
There's a lot in Mighty Thor.
Mighty Thor.
Yeah, most of Mighty Thor. I'm gonna miss Surtur, but goodbye.
X-Men Xavier School is also going to probably rotate.
That one I think is I'm gonna say it's the Edge set, but I think you're right. I think they're gone.
Which means by Cyclops, by Jean, by faculty IDs.
Yeah, goodbye normal ID cards. I for one welcome our wanted poster.
Overlords.
What's that?
Well, I was saying the cutoff set is usually a summer set. So we're likely to see Xavier School go. We probably will see Avengers Infinity either be the bubble or the last set rotated.
I think Infinity's got another year.
Yeah. I think Infinity's got one more year to go. It's a May set. So.
I think Xavier School and Mighty Thor being gone is going to be incredibly impactful.
It's going to be a massive change to the game. Oh gosh,
yeah, because I mean, like the equipment, not so much anymore, but all of those Colossal Retaliators, all of those ID cards.
Like to this day, Surtur is still in use. Carnage is still in use.
Yep.
Mangog's still in use. Mangog comes and goes. I mean, okay, so what aren't we using? We aren't using Ms. Marvel frequently. I've seen her show up. We aren't using Frost Giants, and we aren't using Ymir. So, like, that's that 3 out of the 7 Colossals aren't being... 8 Colossals aren't being used.
Yeah.
Goodbye to 5 figures that can just... I mean, I'm Colossal Retaliation's biggest fan, but some of them... I'm also a big fan of them kind of balancing it out a little better.
But we've gotten... With X-Men Animated, we got new Colossal Retaliators who have, I feel, a better wording.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And, I mean, some of them, they're also kind of picking and choosing Colossal Indifference, which I've really been enjoying.
Yeah.
So, Harley Quinn, I'm not going to miss that set because...
Big Tony, see ya!
Yeah, oh yeah, Big Tony can go bye-bye.
Vulture's got to find a new way to get his perplexes.
Vulture will find a new way to get his perplexes. Let's not kid ourselves. Vulture had ways before Big Tony too. Like there's teams that were using Star Fox to get some.
That's true. Star Fox, Wesley Crusher.
Yeah. Elseworlds is already kind of forgotten for the most part.
Green Arrow, I think that's the only thing that really matters out of that set.
And even then, he's kind of fallen by the... I'm not going to miss him. I thought he was cool.
Yeah.
Like, he was super potent, but he was like a really big laser cannon that fired once, and you really had to make that laser cannon work.
He was the Death Star.
I'm going to miss the Undead set, but the Undead set is really good in casual fun games anyways, so...
Dr. Frankenstein!
Dr. Frankenstein!
I mean, granted, I have Bolivar Trask, who is Dr. Frankenstein Light.
For Sentinels.
But still, I'm gonna miss Frank. I've been using Frank. We all know Jason uses Dr. Frankenstein. Let's not kid ourselves. I'm definitely sick of the Cyclops Wolverines that we have been using.
Yep.
I feel like they're gonna take the Blackbird out with this set, but I'm kind of wondering whether or not the Wanted posters stick around. If the Wanted posters stick around, I'm cool because Regenesis has a lot of the stuff for them.
Well, aren't LEs on a 3-year cycle, not a 2-year cycle?
They tend to be, but sometimes they do weird things like they did with the word.
Nope, I don't know what you're talking about.
Power batteries. The con exclusive power batteries, like a year after War of Light, but they're like all of these power batteries can go.
Because I know the Wanted posters are what? They're at a year right now, I think.
I think so, yeah. So
do they have a set tag, or are they just whiz kids?
they're just whiz kids.
They're MVID or DOFP. Yeah.
DOFP. Oh man, they're not going to be low on the MV. Stupid alphanumeric stuff.
But yeah, no more double Cyclops teams, no more double Jean Grey.
Yeah.
Double Beast.
I mean, if Blackbird stays, I don't think
you get ones.
Yeah, we still have a Jean Grey who's call-inable in the new chase.
And I think she can actually call in Blue Phoenix off that ID.
You can call him on the
Jean Grey student. I think it says Phoenix.
Maybe. Let's check. We have HC Realms open for these kinds of reasons. Other identities: Marvel Girl, Phoenix. Yep, there it is. So yeah.
Can't call in Dark Phoenix, but can do Blue Phoenix.
Call in Rachel Summers. Yep. Well, you can also call in with the Wanna poster. So there's double Rachel Summers. Welcome to the new hell.
And you can use the Regenesis aid,
Rachel. Colossal Retaliation, but it's so much more specific than the others.
Yeah.
Because it only deals damage to characters that have action tokens.
Which is good.
Yeah.
She's also
her inspiration on the Wanted poster is super good.
Oh yeah, Running Shot?
Yeah.
Is it Running Shot?
It is. Yeah. It's Running Shot.
Like, think of all the times you're like, oh, that character would be great with Running Shot. Well, for a turn, I think as Astronomer was one where I was like, I had a team where I had Collector call in a...
yeah, you did that to me.
Oh, yeah. And most certainly a spooky man has entered the chat. How's it going, Mike?
Hey, everybody. Glad to be here. Happy spooky season to you all.
Happy spoopy season.
Spoopy.
Spoopy.
Where were we? But yeah, as far honestly, the X-Men IDs, I use them, but I'm not gonna miss them.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Yeah. All right, Michael, you came in. What you got for us, sir?
All right, running down the list, prepared.
He came prepared with a list.
He does this.
Oh, he does.
I'm so unprepared. Just so inadequate.
Well, remember, Michael is the alpha patron. He's kind of created the systems.
Doing this for
42 months.
God.
This is episode 46. This is episode 46.
Oh my God.
And a banded appearance on each one.
No, 2 more episodes, so we're at 4 years.
Oh my
Patron.
God. Wow.
I gotta make sure I get here for the 4-year one.
We have to do something special for that, aren't we? All right, we're talking over Mike. Sorry.
Alrighty, speaking of spooky season, what is the scariest team you've ever gone up against?
Anything with Felix Faust. but it was one of those unassuming scares. Like, what's a movie you went into and you're like, holy shit, that was a horror movie. Like, it was something like that where it's like, oh, look, spooky wizards. They're neat. How bad could that possibly be? I am now terrified. The Descent. It's like, it's a movie about like 5 women who went into a cave. How bad could it be? It's about cave spelunking. Why are there monsters down there? Oh my god, this is so claustrophobic. I am so scared right now. So yeah, the Faust stall was definitely probably one of the scariest things. I was like, especially when my opponent at Burgervitz turned to me and said, "Okay, so you can only take move actions." Like, okay, what?
You don't get to play the game now.
It's like, so only move actions. So can I take free actions? No. I can't running shot? No. Fuck.
Or it's like the energy dampener where you're not allowed to use power actions. It's like, my entire tile is power action.
Yeah, you don't realize how many power actions you use until you're not allowed to use them. So yeah, I'm gonna call that definitely the scary. I mean, there's other. Okay, joking aside, let's go with what really scared me. It was the first time I saw the Hulk, the Hulk Carnage Bomb. Oh man, was I scared by that. The way this team functioned, it was the first time I had seen the 100-point Carnage in action, which actually kind of inspired me to make my 100-point Carnage monster teams. This guy had a Mr. Mix's Pitlick, a Lex Luthor ID card at Colin, the Fast Force Hulk, and 100-point Carnage. These are the high points of the team. So what he did was he used Mr. Mix's Pitlick to call in Lex Luthor, and he had Spitlick to change size of the Hulk when required. And then he would TK the Hulk forward. This is the Fast Force Hulk from Mighty Thor. He would move and then quake. And I think he had some kind of item. It was a Kree Supreme Intelligence that gave him sidestep. So he would move, quake, sidestep, quake. And he had giant reach. I was like, oh my god, what the hell? And this was at the time I was running my Devil Dinosaur, Al Jordan, Ultron Drones, call-in team. But like half of my team, and the Ultron Drones were basically dead right out of the gates. It's like, flop, what do I do now? Because here's Sophie's choice you're dealt with. The Hulk just attacked you, and the Hulk is going to attack you again. So your choice is to attack the Hulk and kill it. But you've got another problem. Carnage is on the way if you do that. I was like,
big boy Carnage.
Yeah, big boy, 100-point Carnage. He's coming with 3 attacks and a 4th from his friend. So suffice to say, I was terrified when I looked at the guy's team and I was like, oh no. Because once you understand exactly what it does, like, oh crap. So I managed to win that game by the skin of my teeth. Then I turned to him and I said, I'm taking this 100-point Carnage. I'm running with it because you have changed my mind about him. Because that was terrifying. It was scary. What do you got, Amber? You got anything on that scary level? Something that just went, wait, what?
There definitely are. I just couldn't tell you specifics. Like, there were definitely times where it's just like, okay, so I've got like a 15 attack and I'm going to deal 7 damage and then I'm going to do it again and then, okay, so it's turn 2 and your entire team's dead. What? I think my scariest game, and the thing is, it's not even like a scary team or anything. My scariest game was facing Jason in the finals of month 5 of War of Light. Just because of the prospect of being in the finals, but also being against Jason.
This particular War of Light tournament, I was on a tear. I had only not won the month prior. Like, I won month 1, I won month 2, I won month 3. I went 2-1 in month 4, and I was in the finals in month 5. Like, the winner of our game won that tournament. I won with some massive luck.
I was very, very scared. It was a very scary game.
I mean, you were scared. Amber, you had
I had
Sodom Yat?
I had Sodom Yat and a Tomar too.
And I was like, oh my... She's talking about scared. My team was Black Hand on board and 2 or 3 Blue Lanterns.
And Brother Rat.
And Brother Rat. Yeah, Brother Rat.
Brother
Worth. Brother Worth. Brother Worth, Brother and Sister Cersei. Like, I can't remember who the other guy was, but it was definitely Sister Cersei.
Him.
Brother Him. That's what it was. And he had enhancement, and I was like, okay, so this is what I'm going to do. But
it all came down to you remembering you could attack my battery.
Well, absolutely. You had the battery on, like, the last click. I was like, I have to kill it. I have no choice. Because Sodom Yat has +3 to his stats right now. Yeah. This cannot happen. This cannot be what I die to. And because of where we were, I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm just going to kill that. Because I also am personally responsible for killing 7 of my own power batteries. So I knew what the last click looked like. Oh.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that.
That would be my scariest game.
Now, what was
in context? Context is what made that. Scary.
What would you call that? Why was that scary to you?
Because I was actually scared to win.
Why would you be scared to win? I was like,
that's adorable.
It's cute because if you think about it, if I lost that game, I still walked out of that event with a Necron.
Yeah.
Because by the time month 4 had hit, I went 2-1 in month 4, and at that point, I was uncatchable because I had 3 wins and a 2-1 going into month 5, and anybody who was even close to me had fallen behind. So because it was only focused on like winning the tournament, getting the extra points, Necron was basically mine by month 4. So you could beat me all you want and be like, Necron's still mine. I think that was what I was saying for like the week before that event. It's like I could have a stroke and still have a Necron. As long as I had a pulse, I still had a Necron coming to me. A car could crash through the store. I'd break my leg and get up and just sit at at each game and be like, I concede, my leg hurts.
Jason dies. They put Necron in the casket.
It's like, still got it, baby. Because there's no way they would give it to anybody else. It was so drastically far ahead.
Such a runaway.
And in my defense, or in my offense, I only got it because month 1, Weaponer of Cord. Month 2, Weaponer of Cord. Month 3, Sodom Yat. Like,
God, that would have been it. Where it's like, all right, Weaponer of Cord, okay, goodbye, you're done.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this game is over already?
Yeah. Well, Weaponer of Cord teams were disgusting.
Yeah.
Full movement, charge a running shot, and pick a power, attack power? That seems reasonable.
I didn't even play on War of Light, and I know that character is a problem.
I think it was only 235 points with a massive...
210.
210, gross. Oh, yeah, he's 235 once you start putting constructs on him. Oh, I'm sorry. Is that the shield construct that comes with the green power battery? Ah, shucks. What am I going to do about that? I'm going to just F myself. At the same time, like, everything in that set was cannon power. Like, they were laser.
It was ridiculous.
I'm on a War of Light tangent now. That set triggers me sometimes, man, because it's like, it was so good and yet too powerful at the same time. All right. Azrath, did you have another question, or are we going to let Mike take the floor?
Nah, Mike can take the floor.
All right, bud.
Alrighty, so while we're on the whole monster theme and spooky season, where do you think Onslaught lies in the place of the monster in the monster team meta?
Very high.
What do you think, Gabriel?
I don't know. I think maybe it's just because of my quality of experience with Onslaught, but I'm just not as scared of him as a lot of people are. But just because having all the times that he showed up was battle royals.
Okay,
so like I watched him
bad.
get killed over and over again. So I have a very skewed perspective of him.
Me, on the other hand, I think he's definitely fits into one version of the monster team because the ability to move and attack and then mind control 3 of your opponent's characters is gross. It's so good. Like I think it's an 8 movement with phasing on 120. I think anything above 125 points is too much for 300 points. But 125, you've got room for perplexes, and he has prob and he has shape change. He's also immune to all the powers he uses and everything that you want to use to counter him. It was like, well, I'm going to mind control you back. Nope. I'm going to incapacitate you. Nope. I'm going to try to outwit you. Nope. I'm going to try to psychic blast you. Nope.
You can't even target me outside of 5.
Yeah. It's like, and yeah, that's what's even more. It's like he's got a 9 range with his 8 movement and mind control, or it's like mind control for free, or incapacitate for free, or telekinesis for free. You want to make an attack for 3 damage, keep a heavy object local, you'll be fine. It's honestly, I think he is very high up on the scale of a monster team playable because at 125 points, he's only 25 points more than Carnage, which I've already used, and you can definitely make some huge monster teams with him. I mean, you could even include either version of Proteus. Right? And be able to just kind of protect yourself to a certain degree. I mean, obviously, the green Proteus is just the most disgusting way to do it. Pending his errata, if that ever happens, or if that ever
still waiting for it.
Yeah, I doubt it's ever going to happen. I'm not going to lie. I feel like he's going to have to get watch listed first, then get an errata if they really see it, because they have to see it being a problem. But that said, Orange Proteus, even the barrier, pick an indoor map because you can build some massive monster teams. Onslaught's super awesome. I think actually the orange one works a little better with the way Onslaught works because if you want a win map and then you can use the barrier after the fact of him making all the attacks that he needs to make and do all the things he needs to do. Whereas I think the green Proteus requires the action to resolve, then he pops his barrier, his blocking terrain down. So timing wise, the orange one kind of works to its own degree. Yeah, that's where I sit him very, very high in the monster scale of I might use him. And I think he's a possible dominant force in the Pauper format coming up for states. Because he's only an uncommon.
Yeah, I agree with that statement.
I mean, granted, don't follow my instructions and try to put multiple Proteuses on your team before I made that realization on my episode where I covered that. The face I made when I realized that was so stupid I had to meme myself. It was just like, oh, hold on, I'm dumb. But, I mean, you can move him and then TK a Sabretooth?
All while he's carrying Dr. Frankenstein?
Yeah. Or not even move him. Just TK the Sabretooth, go with the thing, and then make an attack. Like, it's... Yes, Onslaught on a scale of, like, 1 to 5, as far as power level, sits at a definite 4.95. For sure, at minimum. I mean, the only issue you do run into is if you hit him, if you get close enough to hit him, and you have enough things to hit him with, he can go down pretty quick just because he does go from invulnerable to super senses all of a sudden. And that can be problematic. But you have shape change, you have prob, you have a limitation on how far you can be to hit him. There's a lot going in your favor in that sense. So, the Onslaught. The Onslaught!
Wow.
I'm excited to play him.
I am. I have played him in Sealed, so.
I need to play him properly. I need to get an actual real feel for what he does.
This sounds like an episode.
Oh. What do they do?
Amber's experience with Onslaught.
Amber joins the Onslaught army. Mike?
Alrighty, so now I try never to repeat questions, but this time I just can't help myself. I want to use the same question, but on regarding another set there. Maybe a couple months ago, I asked about, okay, what kind of or in the Regenesis set, what would be most useful with a Proteus LE, or the Possessor Proteus that adds the +1 to all stats. So I want to ask you again, what is there any pieces in this X-Men animated set that would, I guess, would be low enough points like it, or would benefit in a Golden Age game that would probably benefit from having Proteus on him with the +1 to all stats?
God, I think back on how Proteus worked and the current state of the game and point values as they stand right now, and how disgusting he would be in the current environment.
I want to put him on Blob.
You savage, Amber. Put him on Blob and have somebody with leadership next to him. +1 to stats.
I love that Blob so much.
Man, your Blob is a good call. To be honest, like that's pretty solid. I'm not against this Proteus being on Jean Grey, the chase.
Oh my God! Please give her some defense. Please.
A 19 defense is better than 18 defense.
Does Proteus give her any powers, or it's just strictly
stats, and you might
stats.
take damage.
Yeah.
She's pretty consistent across styles. She does drop the damage early, but 5 damage to 4 damage wouldn't be the worst thing in the world.
Sabretooth.
Oh, Sabretooth.
13-4 flurry with stealth.
Yeah, the Sabretooth. Sabretooth would be broke.
Yep.
Oh, man.
With a 19 defense with super senses? Yeah.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Yeah. When he takes damage from... It's a shame that the damage is from an opponent's attack.
He can't just heal from the Proteus effect.
That would be so busted. It's like, yeah, I'm going to heal. Wait, what? Who else would be really... Like, there's... I think even Spiral would be playable with it. I'm crazy like that.
I mean, let's be honest. Pretty much anyone in this set...
It's true.
...do from having Proteus.
Sauron is 85 points. He could fit it. How many points is Archangel? Archangel 100. It's going to be less than 100, right? For Proteus? Anybody remember?
I just had him pulled up.
What his restriction was.
Is 100 points or less.
100 points or less. Okay, so I think Regenesis Archangel will probably be better. Now I actually put some thought into that. Oh man, you can't equip Colossals, otherwise Big Bastion.
Or Dark Phoenix. Give her an 11 range.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So good.
I like that super rare Colossus with Proteus.
Yeah, that would be pretty good.
Goes through a 12 attack, 5 damage with super strength and charge, and then a 19 defense with his invulnerability.
Yeah.
I like that.
And his
Invincible,
which he also gives adjacent characters invulnerable.
Yep.
He's a little squishy, but Pyro. The extra stats could go a long way.
I feel like there's a lot of good candidates.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cable.
Cable. Cable's a good candidate. You can put him up to 12 attack, 4 damage. Cyclops.
I like that Cyclops.
Yeah.
I like that Cyclops a lot.
You know what? Put it on the Deadpool in the sub.
Oh, he might still be a terrible character.
He would be a reasonable 30-point character with the Proteus. The problem is the Proteus costs 35 to equip.
He's a 65-point character.
Hell, even Belladonna would be good with it.
Legion.
Your Legion would be all right with that.
Legion would be interesting too,
Yeah.
because he just moves his dial all over. Like,
Yeah.
not title character Legion, the other Legion.
You could do either ones. Yeah.
His dial just go like you choose where you are, so it doesn't matter if he takes Proteus damage.
Mr. Sinister.
Yep. Oh man, now that you're mentioning the normal Legion, if you get that 12 attack 5 damage click, he's a 13-6. And I think one of those clicks is Pulse Wave. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
12 attack with Pulse Wave.
And a 20
5
defense.
damage with Prob. Goodbye to your biggest character.
Yeah. Oh god, that's gross.
So, basically, I think we've come to the conclusion that
All the single base characters.
yeah, anything that's not colossal. Anything that's not colossal, because putting it on a colossal is against the rules. Any of those? None of those were.
I like that question.
What's that?
I like that question. That was fun.
It is a fun question. I think I would be willing to answer that question for every set that comes out. All right, Michael, floor is yours again.
Alrighty, so let's go to the maps section of the questions. So I know how much you guys love the Krakoa map, or have you guys pulled a Krakoa figure, and do you guys enjoy it like just as much as you do playing the map?
So, Amber,
Funny story.
we recently filmed an episode. Amber played a game with our friend Aiden, who you've seen on Movement Attack. Amber, that was Krakoa you played, and Aiden
Krakoa.
played Krakoa.
Krakoa.
And you
On
guys
Krakoa?
played on Krakoa.
Yep.
How was that? How was the experience?
Mama Krakoa gonna knock you out.
It was the story behind the entire thing in our own little wacky heads.
The more we played, the more backstory we gave
Yeah.
the game.
So, of course, we know that the Krakoa can spawn smaller Krakoas, as we learned from the Wolverine and the X-Men comic book. So, the story behind this one was these two Krakoas were fighting on Krakoa, are making too much noise, and Big Mama Krakoa would every so often just smack a Krakoa. Let me tell you, that game goes for a while. And it's one of those situations. This is not a strategic game. It's mostly a game.
It's
Hopefully,
a dice
I
game.
really
It's
hope
hilarious.
the audio turns out in that game, because that's
Yeah.
that's one of those games that I think turns into more of a podcast than a game of HeroClix. It's like a podcast that involves like dice. So. Yeah, it's...
Yeah, I hope I haven't gotten a chance to look at it, but I really hope that we're able to get like me and Aiden and even Jason talking on it, because we did it after Regenesis, so there was actually really nobody in the store. So there wasn't a lot of ambient noise to be able to mess with it, but it's all being filmed on my phone. So it all depends on how it goes, but I hope it turns out well, and it'll give Jason a lot of practice with editing, because it's just all dice rolls.
Oh, I'm memeing the crap out of my editing on this one. It's like, yes, they're still there. Yes, they haven't moved. Yes, they're still making close combat attacks. Yes, they're just colossal retaliating on each other. No, they are not moving to colossal retaliate. No, Krakoa's earthquakes don't do anything to them.
We recently did a battle royale at our locals. It was 5 players. We did a double Krakoa map. We put 2 Krakoa maps side by side, and we rolled after everyone's turn.
Nice. Well, that's what you're supposed to do, is after everyone's turn.
Yeah,
So.
5 Krakoas every go.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
All right. We lost Mike.
Oh no.
Hopefully he can find his way back in. But Azrith, you mentioned in the Discord that you had to head out, so I want to say thank you very much for joining us and giving us multiple opportunities with which to tangent off of questions, as we usually do. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and hope to see you on the next Patron Hangout. We might move them to Fridays again. I don't know. We have to work on that.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me.
You can be here.
Yes. In the current state that I'm in, but I've been up since 5.
All right, man. Have a good night. Thank you very much.
You too. Thanks for having me, guys.
All right. Mike, next question.
Alrighty, so all right, so this popper format that I've been seeing you guys doing some videos about and everything like that, I kind of, to my ears, it kind of sounds a little bit like the Everman format. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm misunderstanding it. So could you I guess my next question is, what are the differences between the Everyman format and the Pauper format?
Until about a week or two ago, it was very similar, with one exception. When Pauper first came out, the only difference between our two formats was history. Let's do it. I created Everyman around the same time Pauper kind of showed up. Everyman is strictly commons, fast forces, and starters. And at the time that Pauper showed up, it allowed uncommons but didn't allow fast forces and starter figures. Time moves forward. We go to find out that Pauper is going to be the format for states because stores don't want to run X-Men sealed because it is pricey. I understand that. But because of that, certain changes have been made to the Pauper format. Including the inclusion of a new Highlander rule, which means figures are strictly unique. All figures are unique, except with the exception of characters that are brought in from outside of the game. In addition to which, they are allowing the WWE figures in their entirety, so all of them. I hope Mike comes back in to hear the rest of the answer. And what is the other difference? I think that's about it. So where Everyman allows commons, fast forces, and starter set figures, the new version of Pauper allows commons, uncommons, fast forces, and starter set figures. But they have a strict Highlander rule, and they also allow the WWE figures that are going to be off the shelf. And they also the Pauper format allows for the Magneto and Sabretooth and Avengers Infinity style prime, not primes, the uniques that were at a kind of pseudo prime rarity. They allow that in the format. So those are the big differences. I hope. Did you catch all of that? I know you kind of popped in and out of the chat there. So
Yeah, don't worry. I'll just have to go back and watch the VOD instead and like that. But alrighty. Thanks for clarifying that. I appreciate it though. So. All right, because then I had to go run across the room here, and where's I dropped it? All right. So this looks the Utopia map here. Like that, I wanted to ask you guys your thoughts on what you thought of each side. Like that, I guess it's the new updated Danger Room on one side.
I know as far as the appeal goes, there was another Danger Room and another Regenesis map, right?
Yeah.
I like the idea of sticking them next to each other for really big games with multiple people. So I thought that was pretty cool. The Utopia side is weird. It's a Colossal's nightmare because just about everybody can see you. Well, no, I wanted to leave it on Mike because he's showing off the map. It's obnoxious for Colossals, but for regular size figures, it kind of reminds me of I can't remember what it was. I think it was Atalan or something like that. Where it was like this half elevated, half not elevated map from way back. I want to say it was Guardians of the Galaxy was the set because that had the Inhuman subset, right?
I think so.
Yeah. And it kind of reminds me of that. It's cool. I like it. I think it's pretty neat. And I feel like the outdoor portion, the Utopia portion, is a really good counter if you're not running Colossals and want to help get rid of your opponent's Colossals. Especially with Amok Time come next summer, kind of rotating out of Modern. I mean, it's still going to be a legal map for Golden Age, but it's a good wide open map that if you're playing against characters who are of normal size, you have a lot of hiding spaces, blocking terrain, hindering terrain, and stuff to work with. So both sides are neat. I feel like there's more competitive potential in the Utopia side, but I do like the Danger Room side as well because I like maps that fit together for really big games because we have buddies who like to play really big games, and slapping two maps together is definitely an exciting, good old time. Slapping the maps. Slapping the maps.
Slapping the maps.
Anything you want to add?
Yeah.
I find the thing I really like the Utopia side. I found the thing that's absolutely fascinating about it is that with the exception of like Atlantis and maybe Drowned Wakanda. What was that called? Flooded Wakanda.
Flooded Wakanda. Yep.
Flooded Wakanda. What are you trying to do?
Getting you close to the microphone because it's barely picking you up.
Oh. Yeah, sorry, with the exception of, like, those two maps, there is an entire starting area on Utopia that's in water. So,
Flora Colossals will love that.
Yeah, Flora Colossals love it. But also, like, that could really change, just even a character's first turn. Now, granted, in the wider constructed metagame, most characters have ways of moving around a map. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, we played Regenesis Month 3 on it, and there were teams where, like, their entire first turn, they were at half movement. Because they didn't ignore that water terrain, and they didn't have flyers to carry them out of it.
I wonder if those teams won map. Because that's the other thing you got to remember. Even though an entire starting area is in the water, if you're paying attention to the fact that your opponent wants the water, you take the water. Don't let them have it.
Two out of my 3 games, I started in the water, and my team didn't care because I had 2 flyers, and the people that weren't being carried ignored hindering terrain from movement. Yeah. So, like, my team was okay with that.
I speak from a perspective of, oh, hey, you have 6 Flora Colossals on your team. I'm not going to give you the water.
Yeah.
So, be attentive to your opponent's team as much as you're attentive to yours.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you kind of transitioned into what my next thought was going to be. Like, I like to look for maps with some good, nice portion size of water for Atlantis teams and stuff like that. Now, but since it's only got the water on the one end, though, like, should I let is it a good enough strategy, or maybe it's probably a terrible strategy to let the opponent come to me in the water like that? But it's kind of like giving up, okay, maybe first strike or first blood type of attack. Should I eventually leave there this end here with a or should I just kind of sit there and wait for him to come to me?
What you're going to find is a stalemate situation where they're not going to want to approach you while you're in the water if you have an Atlantis team, because 9 out of 10 figures in Atlantis teams are better in water, especially if they have the aquatic symbol, because they get +1 defense at range if they're in water, because that's a thing now. Because your eyes just went, huh? Yeah, that's a thing on the pack.
No, sorry, this is more me of...
Am I keeping you awake? Here,
trying.
We're just gonna hold on. Now she's an Atlantis character. But yeah, that map is actually not ideal if you want to be using water. Granted, if you can be in the starting area where you happen to be in the water, as an Atlantis team, you shouldn't expect to be in that starting area. And you want to kind of chase to your opponent where your opponent's starting area is. But sitting with... I don't think very many Atlantis teams are super high range either. But a lot of the characters also kind of get bonuses by starting in water. So it's like if a character started in water terrain, they don't have their movement for charge. That kind of situation. There's a lot of powers like that. You do kind of want to get out of the water, but you want to make sure you're in the position to be able to take advantage of that. So... it's a catch-22, especially with a map like that, because there's only so much water on it. It's not technically the ideal map situation to be in, but if you are as an Atlantis team, and you want to kind of play it tighter to the chest, it might be a smarter idea to stick with the water, especially if you have defenses you can rely on and make effective use of that water terrain to get the +1 defense against range.
Yeah, my only worry about that is when you're trying to basically gauge on a strategy of staying in the starting area, it can really depend on what you're going to get on the other side of the map, because you could have an Alpha Strike character, or a team, you could have a very long range team, or you could have that opponent that's like, all right, well, I'm not going to do anything until... like, you come to me, okay, cool, double point loss. Like 0, like, yeah. 0 point double loss, whatever you want to call it.
Yep. Go for it.
Alrighty, so thank you for that. Alrighty, so yesterday, as of this live recording here, we did I guess, a big team, small maps type of scenario, and I was playing up against a all colossal team. And my question is the meta game strong enough to where we can have all colossals on the map on a team, or is it just like so many other excellent pieces on there that you should be playing instead of like that?
Certain versions of my monster team definitely could have been all colossal if I wasn't so emotionally attached to Dr. Frankenstein. Because if I go back in time and we go back to the 100-point Carnage with Goblin King and with only small characters being 1 Goblin King and 2 Dr. Frankensteins, I could have spent 155 points on like an ID card and 3 whales. There's all colossal possibilities for sure. You just got to make sure it works to a certain degree. Like, yeah, in hindsight, I probably would have run that 100-point Colossal or Carnage with whales if I would have known what Tyler Spees was talking about most of the time. I always thought he was talking about Giganto like on his own without Namor. I didn't realize he was talking about Giganto and Namor every time he mentioned it to me. I was like, what? I don't Oh, that's what he did. So I would have probably been baiting with Giganto in that case. So yeah, on the fundamental of it, an all colossal team is very possible. We live in that world now, and I wouldn't say it's a bad thing necessarily. I don't know. I have such a limited amount of space, and if my colossals take up a lot of space, I want to be able to use them. I'm a big fan of using my stuff. I don't like it just collecting dust. I have very many. Back when I used to be a smoker and smoke indoors like a disgusting pig, I had probably the dustiest Galactuses and Fin Fan Fooms you've ever seen in your life, because when the hell was I ever going to use them? So as a result, nowadays I kind of like the fact that I can use them in the way that they are, and if I can build a team with all colossals, I'll do it, because I'm that kind of crazy. What about you?
My Team World's team was all colossals.
That was. That was a sealed even.
Yep.
So that's team sealed. So there was 6 packs to work off of. But yeah, you had, what was it? It was Bastion, the Baby Sentinel, and Nimrod. Yeah.
It was cool. A Sentinel theme team.
That's cool. I can appreciate that.
Yep.
For sure. So yeah, you know what? If Bastion was into rare, my Sentinel Popper team would be all colossals.
Oh yeah. easily you can do a Sentinel.
You can do a Popper colossal team.
Yeah. Easily now.
So the world we live in, and it's not unheard of if you can get the right power combination. I mean, Onslaught is the right power combination in a lot of cases, as we discussed earlier. So yeah. I love that. I love living in this world, to be honest. I don't mind playing with action figures as opposed to miniatures. Oh.
So were you just, I guess, channeling some, oh crap, what's the guy's name? Never mind, I was going to angle up there for a joke and I screwed up. Hang on. Carlito. Yeah, so that's... And
I'm not spinning an apple at Amber. She would not appreciate. She'd probably divorce me, and I don't think she'd get the reference yet. Amber is still a very new wrestling fan.
That's cool. That's cool. All right, because that also leads me into my last couple questions here. So. All right, because I've been really excited about this too. I can't wait for the WWE set. I'm gonna meet Trish Stratus here in December. She's coming here to a convention, do autograph signings. So I'm going to try and get her to sign her. I guess here Clix card and stuff like that. And so it's like I'm really really excited. So I know I keep asking you other questions. So it's all leading up to this. How it's finally here. This is it on a couple weeks. How excited are you that this set is finally going to be released?
Amber, how excited are you for the WWE stuff?
I'm actually.
It doesn't matter how excited you are for the WWE stuff, because I'm pumped. I am so pumped for it. Our neighbors are so pissed now.
Like, I knew it was coming.
Do you know what this is going to be? The most electrifying set in HeroClix history. And that's the bottom line. I went from Rock to Stone Cold in there. I don't know if you got that. Amber is not happy with me right now. I'm a little excited. I'm a little excited. For real now, Amber. What are your thoughts? I won't even.
No, because then you'll spit that at me or something.
No. Here, you can have one. Oh, I've shown you the Stone Cold Steve Austin ones, haven't I? No, Amber, seriously. What are your thoughts on the WWE stuff? We need to... The people... He paid to know, Amber. I'm not... I swear. I won't do it again.
I don't trust you.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
It's gonna be okay. Real thoughts. Amber, this is dead air. You can't do this to us.
It's not dead air. You're talking. I'm excited. I already said I was excited. God!
You didn't finish.
Gee, I wonder why.
You were interrupted by some rude, loud asshole. What's your highlight? What's your big pick for the set? What's the one you want to play the most? Most looking forward to having?
I can't remember.
Not Asuka?
Well, I mean, I want Asuka. I want Asuka, I want Finn, I want Charlotte,
Oh, yeah.
I want Sasha, but
we are getting them all.
I know, but there was actually legitimately a dial that was previewed, and I was like, I want to play that, and now I can't remember who
It's
it
Eddie
was.
Guerrero.
Okay.
You like the Three Amigos like everybody else. Which is reasonable. I mean, he's indomitable, and he is allowed to attack 3 times as long as all he's got is an action token.
I also want to play Andre the Giant.
You want to play Andre the Giant?
The pretty lady.
Pretty lady. You want to play Fezzik or Andre the Giant? Both. Both. What am I looking forward to? I want to see what the Rock and Sock Connection has before I make a final decision. But I know I had a ton of fun playing with Finn Balor already in the Mixed Match Challenge stuff. And I think I want to make him part of my Popper team, to be brutally honest. Because he's Finn Balor, and I like me some Finn Balor. Some Finn Balor. I think I'm definitely most excited for Finn Balor. Finn Balor. Yeah, I'm hyped. I can't wait to crack them open, give them a couple tries, use that, figure out that new WWE stuff, and go for the pin on somebody in a Popper tournament. Because that's my goal now in life. Is if the WWE stuff is going to be popular in Popper, I want to win via pinfall. Not submission, by pin.
Yep.
I want to give somebody the Three Amigos, and then I want to win a pinfall, and I don't want them to heal off of it. Because that's what happened to me when I was playing against Scott.
Aww.
Or actually, that's what happened to Scott when he was playing against me. He tried to pin my Sasha Banks, and instead I got the big kick out with a 6, and healed 1 click instead of losing 1 click. So, yeah. Pinning in the Popper. Popper pins. All right. Quick, before Amber remembers I was rude to her earlier.
Alrighty, so yeah, because then I talked my judge in the local tournaments here like to do okay. Let's you have to buy in the 2 weeks now. We're gonna go buy one WWE figure and bring a team that fits 300 points like that, and you're allowed to add in that WWE figure like that, so you can like maybe have Undertaker on the Legion of Doom or put John Cena on the Avengers or anything like that. So I thought that would be, or Trish Stratus on Alpha Flight or something like that. So my next couple of questions, I want to play around with that type of, I guess, well, maybe this is kind of obvious, I guess, but which WWE superstar would you most want to use the Infinity Gauntlet with?
New Gauntlet or old Gauntlet?
I guess New Gauntlet, the one that comes with either Cap or Iron Man.
Gotcha. It's a hard question. I mean, I'm kind of stuck between Big Show and Andre the Giant, to be honest. The Undertaker would be cool with it, or Kane. I like the theming of that, but I lean towards Andre or Big Show. I kind of want to give it to Big Show, just because one final heel turn would be nice for him. Amber, what wrestler do you want to give the Infinity Gauntlet to?
Well, we already know it belongs to the boss.
The boss? The legit boss? Nobody can hear you when you do that.
I don't care. They can see my lips moving. I'm saying words.
And as a side note, Asuka probably, because she is the Empress of Tomorrow.
Well, yeah. Originally, I was thinking the Queen, but no.
No.
No, the boss. No. Bling it all up.
Oh my God. It would work with the...
That's what I was thinking!
I didn't even think about that. Her with the gauntlet just showing it off. That's... Oh my God. I think I'm getting tired now too. I ate too much at lunch today. So... Oh. Alright.
For anyone that doesn't watch wrestling, I'm talking about Sasha Banks.
Yeah, sorry. We should probably... I'm just going to point out why Amber picked Sasha Banks. I'm going to just go on a quick Google image search. And there we go. Perfect. I'm just going to show this to everybody. She's got these big boss rings, legit boss rings that she wears to the ring. And it's kind of reminiscent of the Infinity Gauntlet, as it were. So, yeah. That was a good answer. I didn't even think of Sasha Banks. Oh my God. Like, she already kind of wears them. Give her both so she does the...
Yep.
All right, Michael.
All right. Which WWE superstar would you most want to try to use the Cosmic Cube? And this is Kobik's Cosmic Cube with.
Kobik's Cosmic Cube, eh?
What does that do?
That's the one that you can either Voop, or you get extra range and ignore a bunch of terrain, or you can give an action token to somebody. Who's somebody who can slam? Anybody with the slam power would be great with Kobik's Cube, because slam, you can either move the character or give them an action token, I believe, when you make an attack with them. So I off the top of my head don't know who has slam, but anybody with slam, because you slam, give them an action token, and then you use the Kobik's ability to give them another action token. Or, somebody like Eddie Guerrero, and you get an action token on Eddie Guerrero, you Voop, and then you you give them the three amigos. Oh, man. Who else? Who else would be interesting? Amber, you got any thoughts there?
No, not on this one.
Not on this one? I mean, Finn Balor, he's already kind of squirrely as it is, and it's better if you don't have to break away in some cases with him. Thematically, it's a shame that the Cosmic Cube doesn't give certain powers that I was coming up with some weird ideas for. I mean, the Undertaker just looks appropriate for holding it.
True.
But if they made it Bray Wyatt, I would say Bray Wyatt because he teleports. Your screen is dark, and all of a sudden there's a Bray Wyatt in your face. The Undertaker used to do that too. Now that I think about it, but I mean, strategically, obviously, like I said, give it to somebody with slam so that you give them double action tokens and get your own little version of the lockdown going. I'm kind of playing with WWE stuff to remember who's all in the set. You know what? The Cosmic Cube is an ultimate piece, and let's just succumb to Vince McMahon and give it to Roman Reigns or Triple H. You know, they're already OP as it is, right? God. I think Stone Cold Steve Austin would mistake it for a beer.
Oh no.
Ooh, AJ would be an interesting one. What did Finn Balor? What the heck? I gotta have to look that move up. Because that doesn't sound familiar. Rousey. Give it to Ronda Rousey. Why not? Nah, the Macho Man.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. Macho Man's got the Cosmic Cube. It makes him the cream of the crop. We'd be covered in creamers. He already pulls them out of nowhere. Imagine giving him the ability to pull it out of absolutely nowhere. All right. Cosmic Cube. Wrestlers, done. And Asuka, because Asuka's awesome.
Asuka get everything.
All yours, Mike.
All right. What WWE superstar would you most want to use Alistair Smythe's spider bots with? Now, I as I recall, it's something similar to the straight jacket.
Yeah.
Or it's an effect, or an effect, something like that.
Trying to remember. Just give me a second. I'm pulling it up right now in HC Realms. So that was that was Earth X. Oh, come on, get my life together, Jason. Was it Earth X? It was Earth X, right? I'm not crazy. Earth X.
Yes.
Alistair Smythe. But his stuff is going to be down here, and his stuff is going to be down here. Mini Slayers. That's what they're called. KO. Quit effect. When this character hits, if friendly to this equipment after resolutions, you may equip this object to a hit character. It will unequip other equipment. If this character is friendly to the equipment, it can use super senses, but only succeeds on a 6. If this character is opposing to this equipment, he can't be given actions to equip and modify speed -2. There's a power that subtracts speed. Stun. Give it to somebody with stun. Is this stun? No, stun's -1 attack, -1 damage, isn't it? Shoot, I don't remember what the WWE powers do all the time. I honestly that's a weird one in the fact that it's kind of universal. Like, there's no specific character you need to give it to. You just give it to anybody. So I think I'm just going to nominate the character with the highest attack, which seems to be 11 across the board, which is like a 17-way tie. Yeah. That honestly, that specific item is such a weird one. I wouldn't say there's anybody who's like the ideal source for it. And I mean, like, The Rock could use the super senses, I guess. Stone Cold could use the super senses. Anybody who could use the super senses goes a long way for it. So you don't need to put it on AJ Styles or Ronda Rousey, but you could put it on the base set Finn Balor, who is significantly worse than the starter set one. Oh my goodness. Why do they hate Finn? Why do they hate the things I like? Donatello and Finn Balor.
It's because you like them.
That's exactly why. Anyone you would that comes to mind for you, or
Put it on the Undertaker.
Put it on the Undertaker. Cool. Sure, Sasha Banks doesn't want it. The Undertaker has the spiders, the mini slayers,
It felt thematic.
and you will rest in peace. No? Okay, cool. Mike, what's next?
Alrighty. Well, yeah, no, that's pretty much it. I think we cleared the page of questions here for this month. I do thank you guys for playing around with this. And can I give the viewers at home a little, maybe some homework assignment? I guess we play along with some of that. Like I had those questions at the bottom. Like I'm sure we probably have a lot more of other equipment. Like who would you want to give the beetle wings to? On WWE, or like you don't have to answer these or something like that, but hey, if those of you watching at home, leave it down in the comment section below. Like what kind of equipment would you want to play around with? And maybe and I'm looking towards all the Spider-Verse villains. They all have equipment. So like I guess who would you give the octopus arms to? Like who would you give the Venom thing for the Bane's Venom tankers on like that? So leave those down in the comments below. I'd be interested in seeing your ideas.
What he said.
Awesome.
What that guy said right there. All right. That said, Mike, thank you very much. Thanks again to Azareth, who was here for the first half of the show. Thanks to all of our patrons over at patreon.com/marriedwithclix. You guys all help the channel keep alive. You guys are going to be pivotal in us getting this channel back to life where it belongs. And we're super excited and happy to have you guys help us out, as it were. It's 46 months of this. Can you believe it? And so we're going to be at 4 years in December? Because November is going to be episode 47 and 48 is going to be December. The December Patron Hangout is 4 years of Patron Hangouts. How did we get this far? Yowie wowie. Wowie yowie yowie wowie. Yowie wowie. That's it. Thank you guys for watching. Check us out at patreon.com/marriedwithclix. Any valuation gets you some awesome stuff. Action tokens, I swear we're going to get them out soon. We have. I promise. We're bad. Have a good evening, and thanks again if you're watching in the archives or watching live.